Прошу прощения, прошу прощения. Я был уверен, что кликнул, но не кликнул. Спасибо. Давайте еще раз. Да, добрый вечер. Будем сегодня слушать все кодек-звонки из самой проклятой игры в мире. Она называется Metal Gear Solid 4. Я уже как-то стримил ее кат-сцены. Я, может быть, к ней вернусь, когда ее перевыпустят на ПК. Но пока что возвращаться к ней нет ни малейшего резона. Но можно зато послушать глубокомысленные кодзимьи диалоги из кодеков. Почему? Потому что кодеков не было в сборнике катсцен, который я тогда смотрел под 2 литрами вискаря. И также не будет этого кодека во время какого-то перепрохождения, потому что нахрен нужно. Худших игр в мире несколько. Мне кажется, что вот в отношении серии Metal Gear Solid 4-я часть, она делает, примерно столько же преступлений, как Third Birthday в отношении серии Parasite Eve. Я хотел было сказать, что Third Birthday это еще и эстетический пиздец и какой-то тупое извращенское дрочево, но потом я понял, что МГС-4 в принципе тоже эстетический пиздец, обесцвеченное говно, кряхтящий старый пердун в качестве главного героя, и пошлые говношуточки и дрочево, это всегда был удел Кодзимы вообще еще с 80-х, поэтому, в общем-то, да. Просто я не так сильно, наверное, люблю МГС после второй части. Меня вот вторая часть заставила разлюбить МГС. Поэтому четвертый МГС меня не так сильно корежит, наверное, как Third Birthday, в случае с которой мне прям очень обидно, потому что первые две паразитки классные. Вот. Да, сегодня мы... Сейчас я это... Так, опять я мискликаю все. Что ж такое? Итак, сегодня у нас есть вот такая штука. 2,5 часа длится запись всех диалогов кодека. Сейчас я ее немножечко... Когда я говорю кодека, я постоянно вспоминаю этого самого автора Данганронпы. И, в общем-то, честно говоря... Так, давайте вот так, да, чтобы побольше было. Во. Честно говоря, что один хак и как, что другой. Стоят они друг друга с Кодзимой. Вот. Да, я подготовился, но я начну сегодня не с вискарика, я начну сегодня со сладкого сидра. С ванильными и шоколадными нотками, дополненными утонченным вкусом сливочной ириски. Вот так вот. Так. Так что да, если вы что-то еще хотите сказать, то да, если нет, то сейчас мы запустим. Важный дисклеймер. Я не просто так это начал делать. Я по собственному желанию, я никогда бы больше не прикоснулся к этому куску говна. Для меня тем алкостримом тема МГС-4 полностью закрыта. Я делаю это, потому что мне пришел донат. Я не против немножечко пострадать, если мне за это заплатят. Так что, если у вас есть лишние 20 баксов, МГС-4 это, конечно, МГС-4, но 20 баксов это 20 баксов. Да, я готов посмотреть на что-нибудь на протяжении стрима. Самое важное уточнение, да, что я при этом, конечно же, оставляю за собой право отказаться. Не все игры одинаково интересны. Мы это видели недавно. То есть вот Терранигму, например, вам смотреть было гораздо даже скучнее, чем мне в нее играть. JRPG в целом не очень хорошо подходит для стримов. И я лично буду отказываться от каких-то старых ПК-игр, потому что их очень неудобно запускать. Так что не все сгодится, да, но за 20 баксов я что-нибудь готов попробовать. Вот. Салоних — это поразительный человек, не прекращает перепроходить МГС на стримах уже сколько лет. Типа какой-то знаковый чел в фэндоме. Окей. Так, в чем контекст скрина из Alan Wake 2? Ну, в том, что, не знаю, я жду, что здесь будет какая-то мета от Кодзимы. В конце концов, вспомните, что самое лучшее было в МГС 4. Самое лучшее в МГС 4 это ее первый трейлер, который буквально вот How Meta Can You Get, который сделан был еще на движке третьей части. Будет ли мета в этих вот кодек-диалогах? Большой вопрос. Сейчас узнаем. Я вообще не знаю, чего тут ждать. Я их не слушал. Если МГС 4 все будет на ПК, сколько будет стоить ее прохождение на стримах? Ну, по количеству стримов 20 баксов за стрим, пожалуйста. Я не знаю, сколько она часов там. Сколько она там часов? Часов 10? Без кодеков, если, да? Хотя 10 часов, подождите, 10 часов там были только сраные кат-сцены, да? Ну вот видите. Так что будет больше. Алана Вейка я не начал. Мне надо пройти Талоса. Я пройду Талоса сегодня после стрима. Сразу мне концовка осталась. Вот. Так что такие дела. Смеяться или плакать? Я боюсь, что будет скучно, но это не зависит не от меня. Это зависит исключительно от Кодзимы. Мне просто кажется, что кодеки, ну, в первой и второй частях МГС были интересные. Вы можете меня оспорить. Первую часть мы будем проверять на Новый год, как мы уже выяснили, договорились. Поэтому, ну, фиг знает. Салоних — это Девил Леон от мира МГС. Девил Леон для меня тоже пустой звук. Вроде бы кто-то его по якудзам что-то типа смотрит, но я-то смотрю никого. Так. Юден Chronicle Rising. Подписка PS Plus попадет. Ты вроде играл в нее. Да, я играл на свитче, это было не оптимально, но мне прямо в дороге было очень хорошо, очень зашло. Мне надо было про нее, блин, написать в бложек, но мне вот реально, я что-то слишком взмыленный постоянно, у меня ни на что нет времени и сил. Если вкратце, это игра, которая состоит из довольно-таки из очень сильно повторяющегося дрочева в рамках огромного количества одинаковых квестов. Но бои легкие, дрочево ненапряжные, сценарий хороший. Мне прям зацепило сразу сценарно, и мне до конца ради сценария я проходил, мне прям зашло. По-моему, это писал сценарист Персоны 1.2, если не ошибаюсь. Вот. Так что, если вдруг у вас будет какая-то там пауза в списке игр на прохождение, то эту игру, я думаю, можно там за неделю платину, я уверен, в ней можно взять. Вот она не длинная, она не напряжная. И написано неплохо. Я не запостил обзор Freedom Wars в свой бложек, потому что этот обзор изначально из бложек, и я его там... Туда я его изначально запостил, когда Freedom Wars, в общем-то, выходила году в каком? В 15-м, 16-м. Он там уже есть. Так. Пишут, что Якудза 8 очень долгая будет. I'm okay with this. Что такое мета? Блядь. Слушайте, это не так просто объяснить. Мета-геймплей — это, условно говоря, более высокий уровень геймплея. Это не просто взаимодействие с игрой, это то, что выходит за рамки простого взаимодействия с игрой и переходит к, возможно, просчитыванию максимально эффективного взаимодействия с игрой, да, например. Мета в нарративе, мне кажется, даже не только когда сюжет за пределы игры выходит, но Но что-то, да, что-то не касающееся непосредственных событий в сюжете, а выходящее за рамки вот этого простого сюжета, возможно, какой-то overarching narrative и так далее. Ну, то есть, да, вот как вариант, ну, то есть, это реально сложно описать. Считайте, что это сверхсюжет, так сказать. Талос не прошел. Буду сегодня проходить, сегодня закончу. Ладно, поехали.
Some of these controls are new, so it's best if you practice now before you get back into the thick of things. Listen carefully to my instructions and then give it a try. I've also set your codec so that you can receive short messages in listen-only mode. With MCON implemented, there's less chance of you accidentally giving away your position.
Подождите, а до этого... Одну секунду, у меня важный вопрос. Что значит у тебя меньше шансов выдать свою позицию? Сколько раз на протяжении всех частей до этого Снейк использовал кодек, и ни разу это не привело к его обнаружению даже скриптово? Буквально 0. 0 раз такое было. Что за хуйня? Хентай-игры — это мета, потому что ты взаимодействуешь со своим телом. Я аплодирую. Но если эти игры тебе дают директивы, тогда скорее да, а иначе скорее нет, потому что твое взаимодействие не обусловлено игрой непосредственно. Но вообще очень занятное предположение, очень мощная интерпретация, я прям оценил. Да, слушайте, вот первые же полминуты, и мне кажется, Кодзима уже обосрался. Wait until you're in the thick of things, and it could be too late. Use the left stick to move. Я не очень понимаю, что вот это рисуется за канзи и зачем. Это их какой-то с Атаконом организация типа филантропии или что? Кто-нибудь в курсе из экспертов? Потому что я это прочесть даже, конечно, не могу. Значит, это было за кадром. Ну, я сомневаюсь, потому что, короче, об этом даже не упоминается. Канзи вроде филантропии. Окей, хорошо. Be careful not to get dragged down along with them. Snake, head north from your current position. Директива — это, ну, указание, мне кажется, если мы уважаем корни русского языка. Я эксперт по МГС. Нет! Я после 4-й просто выписал себя из фэндома. Мне очень больно слушать Снейка каждый раз, когда он говорит. Блин, а кто эти ирвинги? Я даже не помню, что такое ирвинг. Вот гекко я помню. Они прыгают. Что такое ирвинги? А, летающих... Я не помню летающих хуевин. В общем, да, напоминаю мою центральную претензию к первому акту. The Army и The Militia — это не название группировок. У группировок всегда есть какая-то принадлежность, есть какое-то имя. У каждой ЧВК есть название, в конце концов, да? Поэтому... Тот факт, что здесь все серые и безликие, как и вся игра, это реально фигня. Ну то, что здесь этот Metal Gear Mark II слямзен из Снетчера, я думаю, и так все знают. Но в Снетчере он был персонажем, который травил шутки довольно ебучие и анализировал кал.
not as itchy as I'd have thought.
That suit can mimic the color, pattern, and
Там
even the
где-то
surface
Отатамаши,
texture of walls
Отаку
and
Спирит.
floors.
А, типа
Kind of
это
like
подпись от
procuring your own
Акона. Я
camo
понял,
on
хорошо.
site, right?
I do just fine with the regular stuff. I'm not a chameleon.
You've got it all wrong. We're not talking about lizards. This is octocamo. In other words, it's based on the camouflage capabilities of the octopus. Octopus are sometimes
А,
called
Ирвинг это
ninja
просто
of
другое
the
название
sea.
Гекко? Ну ёб
They
твою
fool
мать.
their
Тогда,
enemies by
тогда значит,
mimicking
я
not
все-таки
just the
ничего не
color of their
забыл.
surroundings, but also the shape of the terrain. That suit takes its cue from defensive deception found in nature. Besides, you may not
70% этого
know
кодека
this,
Generic шит о том,
there
как
is
тебе
a
идти или рассказ о
snake
твоем
that can
инвентаре.
change its body color too. It's
Снейк?
called the Capuas mud snake.
Во, вот я этого
It's
ждал.
a poisonous reptile indigenous to the Capuas River on the island of Borneo.
Мне кажется, это out of
Its coloring
character,
is normally
смотрите.
a reddish brown, but sometimes turns to white. So,
Атакон никогда не интересовался какой-то сраной биологией. Да, реально парамедик проклюнулась.
You used to wear it all the time.
Это какой-то другой персонаж должен говорить, но поскольку здесь нету других собеседников толком, кроме Атакона и Роуз, я так понимаю, ну, может быть, Кэмпбелла,
octocamo, on the other hand,
то ему приходится рассказывать какую-то сраную тривию. А МГС же они очень любят рассказывать сраную тривию, даже второй Metal Gear уже, как мы знаем, это начинал делать.
which means it can offer you at least some camouflage protection against enemy infrared sensors. With so many unmanned weapons in the field these days, I'd expect it to outperform the old
Зачем смотреть
stealth
кодек
camo.
МГС 4? Он же говно. Вся игра говно. Просто это я никогда не смотрел и больше не буду.
You'll risk
Плюс
getting
мне за это
spotted by the
заплатили.
enemy. And get this, the suit also reduces the weight load on your body and amplifies muscle.
А вот это мне можно сейчас объяснить?
The
Как он
inside
это работает?
lining sends a weak
А,
electric
меня
current
пускает
through your body
электричество.
that stimulates phospholipid production inside your cells, improving circulation. That should make your life gauge recover more rapidly when you're hurt. In other words, Snake,
Для стариков, кстати, выпускают такие реальные костюмы, которые электричеством их хуярят, чтобы у них липиды вырабатывались.
Snake, you know how
Или
that
это
first
bullshit,
code you found
придуманный
stopped
здесь?
working? Well, from what I can tell, it looks like the problem was with the ammo.
The ammo.
I'm betting it's because they were using cheap local ammunition. The ammo probably triggered abnormal combustion, which excessively raised the pressure and caused the cartridges to stick in the chamber. It's a pretty rare phenomenon. I guess you just got lucky.
Видео тикает. Спасибо.
Look on the bright side. It means there weren't any problems with the gun itself. I don't think it'll happen again.
Поднял чуть-чуть.
Polygon. Those two-legged machines. They're not like the Metal Gears I'm used to dealing with.
Right. Strictly speaking, though, they're not Metal Gears.
What are you talking about?
The gears you fought before were all
Ну
basically
да, суть
designed
Metal
and
Gear
produced
в
to
том,
serve
что
as
он
nuclear
ядерку
platforms.
запускает. Гекко это
Ray
просто
was an exception to
прыгучие
the rule.
анусы.
But even that
Ну даже
was an
Рэй, да,
anti-Metal
даже
Gear
вы даже в
weapon
Рее уже
designed
все
to defeat the
испортили.
Metal Gear clones popping up all over the world. Its value was
То есть
still
МГС
measured
1
in
был
terms of the
последний
framework of nuclear
нормальный
strategy.
Metal Gear.
It's been 25 years since the end of the
И
Cold War.
единственный, я бы
We
сказал.
live in a world of regional
Но
conflict
учитывая,
and
насколько
asymmetric
сратым
warfare.
говном был
And it's
Metal
getting
Gear в
worse
первой и
every
второй
year.
частях.
The age of the war economy is upon us. The value of Metal Gear as a weapon, the very concept itself has changed with the times.
Так а чё, я не понимаю, вот если все эволюционирует, то почему ядерки никто не вспоминает? Что значит больше? Как можно быть большим, чем запуск ядерки? Это танк. Это просто танк. Metal Gear это был не просто танк. Это была ядерная платформа. Как вы можете сказать, что эволюция ядерной платформы это просто танк? Так что, кто отменил Nuclear Strikes? Почему про Nuclear Strikes никто больше не думает? Как это произошло?
Don't worry. I wasn't planning on it.
Snake, that circle that appears around your body is called a threat ring.
ЧЗХ Metal Gear
It's a
лучше
visual
МГС-4?
display of the sense you get from entities all around you. When you're crouching or lying down and
Я бы сказал, что
concentrating,
нет.
it forms a
Просто потому что в
perfect circle.
первый Metal Gear, ну, Кодзима слишком сильно старался сделать тупое пустое говно. Но первый Metal Gear не наносит урона серии. А МГС-4 наносит просто непоправимый критический колоссальный урон серии. Как-то так. Больше, чем запуск ядерки, Metal Gear с яичником босс, шагающий по Коста-Рике. Что?
To get inside a dustbin, stand in front of it and press the action button.
Stand in front of it. Press the action button.
Снейк,
Got it.
это твой дом. Ты будешь жить в нем. Снейк, полезай в мусор, куда мы нашли для тебя место.
When you're ready to get out, press the action button again. Snake, I know you already know this, but there's no point in hiding if the enemy sees you do it.
Залезай в мусорку, но только чтобы никто не увидел. Больной ублюдок. Во!
They're a part of Praying Mantis Corporation, based out of the United Kingdom. It's one of the 5 largest PMCs in the world. Its business activity includes soldiers for hire, supply and logistics services, education and training for state armies.
Свокер не был на стримах. Но опять же, сделают переиздание, и если вы мне заплатите денег, я готов. Сам не готов.
Which is why the local regime opted to hire Praying Mantis, a UK-based company, and not their regular army to fight the rebels for them. They were buying their experience. Snake, I've said it 100 times already, and I'll say it again. Do not let the enemy see you. If the enemy catches sight of you, they'll dispatch reinforcements to your location.
Да, и ты бесконечной базукой всех убьешь.
No backup. There's no place to run and no place to hide.
Знаешь, куда можно прибежать, Атакон? В кат-сцену следующую. Помните, когда они No place to hide? Это прям супер важно. Мы делаем стелс-игру, где у тебя No place to hide. И что это значит? Значит, у тебя бесконечный патрон. Просто всех убиваешь и игнорируешь все. Свокеры играли пиздеца, надо чуть ли не половину игры. В первой половине нихуя. Да, там Чико и Паз, Пако и Чиз, и это абсолютно ужасно. О, Снейк влез все-таки в мусор.
Make sure you get the smell of them off you before coming back here.
Yeah, I'll see what I can do.
Снейк, кстати, никак не справлялся с запахом.
I'd crawl into a toilet if it kept me out of sight.
Абсолютно добрый вечер. Снейк сказал, я готов влезть в сральник. Я напоминаю, что он себя никак не чистил. И пришел к Мэрил, очевидно, вот таким воняющим говном и гнилью.
Oh, you mean battlefield ads?
Battlefield ads? Is that what they're called?
Ну да, серия Battlefield ходит.
It's what people are calling any ad having to do with the war economy. Privatizing the military has inevitably created intense competition for market share among PMCs and defense industries.
Что значит privatizing the military? Она в Америке и так была приватизирована.
So they're churning out truckloads of ads, exactly like the ones we see every day.
But war is not something you can just write off.
It may seem that way, but the war economy is an enormous driving force in the world.
Can ads bloom on the battlefield?
There are people whose livelihoods depend on those ads. Same goes for internet ads, TV commercials.
Слышишь, у меня 4 много шуток о том, что на PS3. Как переиздавать игру на другие платформы? Отличный вопрос, не знаю. Вырезать диалоги. Позвать с этого... Они уже хейтера позвали, кстати. Они могут переозвучить что-нибудь.
The locks are only disengaged when they recognize the nanomachine ID inside a soldier's body. Anyone not possessing nanomachines keyed to the system, or anyone who's keyed but not authorized to use that weapon, won't be able to pass the
Вот,
ID gun's
это тот момент, который мне кажется особенным супер-булшитом просто в МГС-4. Невозможно заменить оружие во всем мире на оружие, которое чекает в тебе наномашины. Во-первых, это безумно дорого, во-вторых, это просто логистически невозможно. Это такая же тупая хуйня, как во втором Mass Effect. Они за 2 года поменяли во всей галактике оружие с перезаряжающимися этими магазинами сменными. Полнейшая хуйня. Ну и реально, это с точки зрения экономики просто невозможно. Типа, нельзя вот все, сколько в мире стволов? Миллионы, если не миллиарды. Их все переоборудовать на чекающие наномашины за 5 лет? Ну, камон. Это просто боллокс.
You can also use its menu screen to adjust camouflage settings and change equipment. To access the menu screen,
я могу понять, в МГС-2, да, отдельный отряд сделал себе такую штуку. Но тут, чтобы в каком-нибудь Ближнем Востоке просто все пушки без исключения были такими. Камон, в Ближнем Востоке ни у кого не будет калаша лежать дедушкина. Да я не верю.
But the Mark II is no weapon of mass
Играли в
destruction.
Алдармс у меня
It's a
вообще
remote
нет. Я даже
mobile
Алана
terminal
Вейка не начал.
designed solely to support you. I want to show the world that technology can work wonders when it's used the right way.
Эти маски вернулись к тому,
I'll bet that
Mi 1.
50 years from now, robot buddies like the Mark II will be a vital part of our society.
Это отсылка к Снетчеру
30% of all
100%.
snipers use robot spotters.
Снетчер же где-то типа в 2050-х, 60-х был, наверное.
Let me give you a brief rundown on controlling the Mark II. Use the left stick to move it around. Use the right stick to adjust the camera angle.
Снейк пользовался девушкой калашом поначалу. Еще потом, что потом? У него он сломался, патроны взорвали.
Press the attack button. See a switch? Turn it on and off with the manipulator. Wall in front of you? Knock on it to make some noise.
Не хочешь посмотреть кодеки Райзинга? Хочу, но... Может быть, после того, как я его перепройду. Или во время.
All the controls I've explained to you are available for review in briefing. Check it out if you forget how to do something. Snake, the weapons you pick up will be temporarily stored in your backpack. To use one, you need to be carrying it on your person. First,
Снэчери 2046 год. Ну, значит, как раз даже меньше, чем через 50 лет. МГС-4 это что-то типа 2016 или около того.
Except you choose items from the menu screen. There's a limit to how much gear you can carry. Keep that in mind when considering what to take and what to leave behind. If you ever forget how to use
the controls, Райзинг, ну как-нибудь в следующем году сообразим.
Review them by going to briefing on the Mark II menu screen.
Сейчас и так слишком много Metal Gear'ов подряд.
This is a battlefield. Conditions are changing all the time. Sometimes those conditions make it easier for you to lay low. Sometimes they make it harder. Always be on the lookout for the tides to turn. If you see an opening, grab it. For example, if the enemy is locked in battle, they won't be watching their backs. You might try sneaking behind them. During manual control, the Mark II maintains a wireless link with you. But the control signal range is deliberately kept short by an attenuator on the transmitter circuit. The distance varies by environment, so I can't give you an exact figure. But even under the best conditions, it can't exceed 50 meters.
50 meters? That's pretty short. Why impose a limit like that? Seems more useful if I could control it from further away.
Of course, I need plenty of signal when I control it. But in your case, you have to be conscious of the danger from DF. You can't risk using a high-power electrical signal for too long. It's like holding up a big sign saying, "Hey, I'm over here." So try and keep the Mark II close to you when you use it. Keep that in mind, and the Mark II should serve you well.
HD-DVD был HD-DVD привод для Xbox 360, но он отдельный был.
You're practically defenseless while controlling the Mark II. So if you're going to use it, you should do it from someplace you're not likely to be found. Right now, the militia and PMCs are at a stalemate, and just about the whole area is lit up with gunfire. Things are dangerous there even for a guy like you. But if you could somehow tip the balance...
I might be able to divert the hotspot elsewhere.
Играли в зону в Enders. Да, первая зона в Enders говно собачье. Во второй мне прям геймплей совсем не зашел. Я стримил недавно второй зону в
I see you
Enders.
found yourself an operator uniform. As long as you're wearing it, you can do what you need to do, and the militiamen won't suspect a thing. It'll be a useful tool in certain situations. But be careful. Hurt a fellow militiaman while wearing the uniform, and you'll blow your cover. Got it? Snake, you need to rendezvous with our informants. They're U.S. Special Forces. If you need to know which way to go, check your radar.
Да, концовка Снэчера это такая концентрированная клюква.
Yeah,
Ну,
the Mark II
до
doesn't
нее
have to
был
worry
хорошо.
about damage from EM waves because it's a machine, and its surface area is small enough that cost isn't a problem. The trade-off being that it can be easily spotted by heat-seeking unmanned weapons. Keep that in mind, okay?
Пока что только один кусок тривии был за
Head
все
for the
это
building
время.
where our informants are waiting. Your radar will show you which way to go.
Занятно, да? Вот
The device you're wearing over your left eye is the solid eye.
3D glasses, huh? I remember having a toy pair called Tobit Acid back when I was a kid.
what the fuck?
Tobit acid? Okay. Never heard of it.
Игрушка под названием
The solid
Tabidacid?
eye is a
What the fuck is
multi-purpose
that?
goggle equipped with a variety of functions. It has the same night vision capabilities as ENVGs, as well as a monocular function. It can also display a wide range of data as called for by the situation at hand.
Отсылка к Эйсидам?
It's capable of using visual cues to pull up target data
Но
on
она не
enemy
очень
soldiers
читается.
or weapons within its field of vision. Say, for instance, the target is a
Полисноз
soldier.
такая же, в ней
The
получше
solid
вышло.
eye will display the soldier's
Мне просто
physical and emotional state
геймплей,
based on
по-моему, там
body temperature,
ужасный.
heart rate, and even sweat secretion.
Унылейший
You
триггер
can toggle the
Ну и
solid
мне не
eye's
очень
functions
зашло
in the
в целом.
item
Для
window.
меня это было слишком медленно и
Snake,
мучительно.
the
И
solid
не очень
eye's night
интересно.
vision mode can give you a clear view of footprints left behind by the enemy. Use this feature to help you determine their patrol routes more efficiently.
Давайте.
I designed your radar exactly to your specifications, Snake. The baseline map, shown in the upper right of the screen, shows a visual representation of what your senses tell you,
Да.
including sense you're not even conscious of. It compiles and amplifies data on surrounding temperature, humidity, sounds, and smells.
Кому еще
Think
можно
of it
по
as a
кодеку?
digital
Роуз
expression
можно
of the
позвонить, начиная со
feel of
второго
your
акта.
environment.
The feel? You mean my close-range senses?
That's one way of putting it, yeah. The stronger a feel is, the more vividly it shows up on the radar. But if you're somewhere with a high baseline,
Блядь.
in the middle of a combat zone, say, or a panicking crowd,
Это
it's tougher to
виртуал
pick up
бой
that
для
feel.
PSP.
Granted, you tend to stick out more when it's quiet around you, and it's easier to slip by unnoticed in a commotion.
Ебанутые.
But it also makes you less alert to threats. Living
Я,
organisms, such
блядь, я
as
даже не знал,
soldiers
что это
and
говно
moving
было.
objects like unmanned weapons, give off strong feels.
Right
so
in
they'll
the
show up
feels.
clearly on your radar. The radar
Сука,
also displays the
твой
strength of
радар
the weapons
показывает
you
тебе
yourself send out to
филзы,
others.
Снейк.
The more you stick out, the bigger and brighter your radar presence will be. On the other hand, keeping quiet, staying still, and using octocamo to blend in with the environment makes your radar presence smaller, indicating that you're less
Да,
likely
радар
to be
имени
detected by
Давида
the enemy.
Каге.
Snake, I know the Mark II's just a mobile terminal made to support you and all, but
No.
that doesn't mean you can just do whatever you want with it. Do me a favor, will you? The next time you consider sending the Mark II out to get shot to pieces, don't! Can't believe you're so abusive. Mark II.
Otacon?
All the time I put into this technology.
Otacon, are you angry?
It's like there's nothing but yourself. That's the only thing you think about.
Look, I'm sorry. I promise I'll be more careful about how I use the thing.
Yeah, well, you better.
Охуеть,
Those
вообще
guys really
абьюз.
know how to put on a show. I'm sure it was old and decrepit already, but I've never seen a
You
building
mad,
go
bro?
down like that. The militia fighting against
Otacon
praying
is being
mantis
a
are
wife,
mercenaries
yeah.
belonging to a small-scale local PMC. Most of them are from around here, but it was more than ethnic ties that motivated them to pick up their guns.
О,
The
кто-то про
country suffers from
этническую штуку
chronic
еще
high
спросил.
unemployment. There are lots of households just barely scraping by. Kids that grow up in that environment don't have the chance to get a decent education. And there aren't enough opportunities for them to go abroad and find work either. PMCs are one of the few options they have to earn a living.
And for that, they go out and risk their necks.
It's not a respectable trade by any measure. Still, for some reason, I can't bring myself to condemn them for it. It's complicated, you know? During the Cold War, this region was the site of irregular proxy wars fought between the two superpowers. Now that it's over, the ethnic conflicts that were simmering beneath the surface have erupted into full-scale civil wars. Even today, the political situation is fragile. The land and its people have been ravaged and exhausted by years of
занятно,
constant
да?
warfare.
МГС-1 буквально толкает тебе гигантский монолог о том, что курды несчастные не имеют своей страны, живут, страдают. Прям лучшая агитка за Курдистан в мире. МГС-4 не может страны назвать. PMCs, militias, army, terrorists.
You should be using it to buy your people bread.
That's how a lot of people would put it, yes.
Makes sense to me.
Notice the camouflage option
Каким
on the
людям
Mark
Снейк
II's
купил
menu
хлеб?
screen. Selecting it lets you manage the octo camo when you need to adjust the settings on your suit, for example. The
4
octo
последних
camo has a
аналогическая
manual
игра
mode
для
where it
Survive.
sticks
Нет,
with one
последняя это
particular
Rising.
pattern, as well as an auto mode
Но
where
Rising
it
довольно
changes in
как-то
real time to
не
match the
очень
background.
нормально
Pick whichever one
относится
is
к
easiest
четверке,
for
как-то
you to
игнорирует
use.
ее, по-моему.
Snake, if you find there's not enough light to see with the naked eye, you can always use the solid eye's night vision mode.
Из МГСов четвертая и
How
последняя.
you liking that iPod, Snake? They say certain types of music can help relieve stress. If you're feeling run down, why not take a break? Listen to a few tunes.
Да.
Otacon,
Дурка-дурка-стан.
Yeah, I heard it too.
a special forces unit with advanced gear. Who are they?
Some kind of mercenary hired by the PMCs? Anyway, if you do run into those guys, don't
Может быть,
get
в
caught
МГРе
off guard.
четверка больше рассматривается в кодеках,
Remember,
конечно,
that
но
guy
по
said
ощущениям
one of
там
them has
буквально не пара
UAVs
реплик всего.
under his control.
Right. One of his men picked up some pieces. That must be what they had in front of them. Looked the same as the one that bombed that building.
МГР из Сани делает персонажа. Ух ты, я вообще не помню.
You better be extra
Мне
careful
в
they don't
четверке
see
мне
you.
Санни не нравится просто категорически.
Removing the lock on a gun. Otacon, can they really do that?
Sorry, don't know the specifics. Give me some time, I'll see what I can dig up.
Let me know if you find anything.
Will
То есть
do.
мне не нравится в ней буквально все.
What's your take on him, Otacon?
I don't particularly like the guy.
Я не помню
But it
Санни
looks like
там.
we'll need
Я
his help
помню
with those
только
ID guns.
всех боссов.
Sonny's been doing a little sleuthing for us.
И Бориса.
Drebin, a well-known gun launderer in war economy circles. He's a businessman who deals mainly in selling black market firearms to small PMCs and local militia. Somalia, the Balkans, Lebanon, Darfur, Chechnya, Timor, Peru, the Punjab, Kashmir, Colombia. This guy really gets around.
То есть вот теперь вы неймдропаете страны.
You can create a non-ID
А где
gun
сейчас
by
Снейк находится,
replacing
нам
the
так и не
ID
скажет.
recognition chip with a counterfeit version. This enables you to bypass the ID recognition process and use the gun. The problem is
War
that there's
Economics
still
стало
a record
тяжелее
of the chip
профитить.
being
Не, ну,
replaced on the system side.
да, но
Drebin's an
это...
employee of AT Security. He must have connections on the inside erasing records for him.
You think the Patriots are involved somehow?
I'm not so sure. If the Patriots were running the system from behind the scenes, then a weasel like Drebin would be a real pain in their collective ass.
Ну да, но только Дребин это агент
Drebin's a
патриотов,
green collar. He makes his living off the war
но при
economy.
этом он также
He
предает
doesn't let
патриотов.
emotions get in the way of business, and he never gets his own hands dirty. The only thing he trusts is money.
А у кого
I
больше всего
share
денег?
your
У
concern,
патриотов.
but what if we keep him at arm's length? Use him only to get intel and the supplies we need. Keep it strictly business.
А как еще же? Что значит keep it strictly business? А альтернатива этому чему?
We've got to
Ебаться
meet
с
up
ним,
with our
что ли?
informants. The rendezvous point is farther up the street beyond that collapsed building.
Пойти по стопам
You'll need to
Эдуарда
pass through
Лимонова,
it to
что
get to
ли?
the other side.
Если это не strictly business.
Snake, I'm not thrilled with the
Да
idea.
блин.
In fact, I don't like it at all. But business is business. From now on, you'll be using the Mark II to deal with Drebin. Whenever you pick up a weapon that's the same kind as one you already have, any ammo inside will be added to your stock, and the weapon itself will be transferred to Drebin. He'll calculate the weapon's value and deposit the corresponding number of points into your account. Use those points to buy new weapons from him or to turn ID guns into non-ID guns. I've added a Drebin shop option to the Mark II menu. Check it out. Snake, is that a drum? And what, pray tell, do you plan to do with it? It's bigger than you are.
That's the point, Otacon. It has to be at least this size. How else am I going to fit?
Fit?
То есть у Снейка фетиш на влезание в
If the enemy's
объекты.
after me, I can hide inside until they're gone. And, unlike a cardboard box, in a pinch I can roll into a quick getaway.
Say, that does sound pretty good. To hide
Что ж,
inside a
ну,
drum,
да, раньше у
simply
него
equip
было
it as an
ведро,
item.
теперь у него
Press the
барабан.
crawl button to
Я
lie down
вообще
on your
понятия не
side,
имею, как это в
then move
геймплее
as you normally
выглядит.
would.
Окей.
Nice find, Snake. No wonder they call you a professional procurer on site.
There are
Weapons
two
OSP.
gauges at the top left of the screen. The one on
Спасибо,
top
что
is the
рассказал мне
life
про
gauge.
ХП через
probably used to
полчаса
seeing it
после
by
начала
now.
диалогов.
If the gauge gets low, you can replenish it by eating. Or you can lay low in a safe place and wait for your octo-camo suit to
Стакан
restore your
Лимонова,
life.
да, это именно этот
The
эвфемизм,
gauge
да.
underneath your life gauge is the psych gauge. When your psych gauge gets low,
Обосранный и дырявый
your hand
барабан,
will
by the
shake
way.
more
Ну
when
то есть
aiming a
Снейк
gun.
просто лезет
Your
в
life
дыру.
gauge will recover more slowly,
Дыра в
and your
мусорке,
radar
он
will
лезет.
become
Дыра в
less
барабане,
effective.
он лезет.
In short,
How
your
else are they
overall
gonna fit?
combatability will suffer.
Hurry, Snake. The rendezvous with our informants is just up ahead. Check your radar to figure out which way
А
to go.
информатор это Мэрил, да?
To press up against the
Потому что
wall,
больше персонажей
stand in
нет.
front of it and press the action button. Move to the end of the wall while pressed up against it,
Правильно,
and you can
персонажей
peek
просто
around
не
the corner or do a
существует.
jump out shot.
Здесь
You
Мэрил,
never
в
know
Праге
when these
Мэрил,
techniques are going to come in handy.
в
When you're lying
Южной
on the
Америке
ground,
Наоми.
press the aim button and move the left stick to the right or left to shift in that direction. Press the crawl button while you're shifting to roll.
Well, you're
That'll enable you to
shitting.
move around without sticking out too much. When your mental condition suffers, your combat abilities do too.
Вот это вот я...
Put
Да,
it another way, when your psych gauge gets low, you'll have trouble performing
кто-нибудь с этим
basic combat
экспериментировал? Потому что я
actions.
вообще не помню
The key to
никакой
getting your
Psych
psych
Gauge.
gauge back
Не
up
помню,
in these
чтобы это вообще
situations
роляло, но я на
is
нормале один
stress
раз
management.
прошел, но...
Generally, that
Uh,
means finding some way to give your
Я
mind
просто
a
не
break
помню
from
ни
the rigors
разу,
of
чтобы у меня
combat.
был какой-то дебаф от
You
стресса в этой
could
игре.
find a nice quiet
То
place
есть
to
от стресса
rest
Hero
or
был,
eat a
но не
meal.
от стресса
Sometimes it even
Snacky.
helps to take in a pretty view. And some items may also be used
Очень
to recover
роляет, есть
sight.
дебафы.
By
Блин, может он у меня
contrast,
просто не
hanging
падал, я
around
не
an
знаю.
unfavorable environment, a hot or smelly place, for example,
То есть да, я просто
will
бежал
drain
вперед
your
и всех
sight
убивал,
fast.
может быть, поэтому оно у меня не
Always pay
падало.
attention to the environment you're in.
The rendezvous point is just up ahead. The building seems to be abandoned. It's not occupied by the PMCs or the militia. The rendezvous point is on the top
И
floor.
вампир в
Check
кодеке не
your
должен
radar to
быть.
see which way
У
to
него
go.
же нет номера
And use
Снейка.
extreme caution. Snake, I'm picking up a weak radio signal emitting from the infrared sensors placed throughout the building. My guess is they're set up so that whoever planted them, our informants in other words, can monitor their operating status
Второй
in
Макси
real
из-за
time.
жары был в плохом
I strongly
состоянии.
advise leaving
Ага,
those
играть
traps
очень
alone.
сложно. Окей, хорошо, понял.
The enemy sent in a squad to hunt you down. You've got to get out of there as fast as possible. There won't be any way out of the building until at least the second floor. Work with Merrill's team to find a way down and get to the exit. The exit's on a lower floor. Work with Merrill's team to get rid of anyone in your way. You need to get out of that building now. There's an exit on a lower floor if you can get down there. Fight past the enemy with Merrill's team and get to the bottom.
Сука, он 3 раза говорит одно и то же.
Snake, are you watching Merrill's team?
Yeah, they're incredible. The best of the best in special forces are pretty deadly, but Merrill's team is even better than that. They're like a well-oiled machine.
Sons of the Patriots. What a system.
В 24, если будешь убивать, повышать стресс
I'm
шкалу.
glad they're on our
Снейк
side.
вспомнит слова Ликвида о любви к
Well, you better
убийству и
not make Merrill
блеванет.
mad,
Вот это
for
да.
all our sakes.
Может быть, он блевал, но я просто
No
после этого
kidding.
продолжил убивать успешно.
You gonna be all right? I mean, you two do have a history.
Monicon, I know where Liquid is.
Yeah, I'm confirming the location. It's to the north of where you are. Meryl's really changed, hasn't she, Snake? She's a lot more self-assured.
I wonder how much of that has to do with the system. The senses you used to develop through extended training and experience can now be obtained without even working for them. Seems once you're under the system's control, you don't even need experience at all. It even beats that VR training that was all the rage a few years back.
Yeah. The growing need for PMCs has led to the creation of a more reliable, cost-effective supply of elite soldiers. It's also made the child soldier phenomenon more problematic than ever.
Can the
Problematic.
nanomachines do anything to counteract post-traumatic stress disorder?
Good question. They might provide a degree of psychological stability.
You'd think so. That geek kid, Akiba, he was really starting to lose it.
And technologically, the system should
Вот
be able
занятно,
to
да,
optimize each
что
soldier's
Снейк такой, у
personality
него такой
traits.
крутой отряд, well-oiled machine. И тут оказывается в Сасаки все это время полный
Augmenting
Сасаки.
the soldier's existing experience and psychological
А отряд, как
fortitude.
известно, он настолько же силен, как его самое слабое звено.
The times have changed, Snake. Just like Meryl. Snake, hurry to the PMC camp. Based on what Meryl told us, liquid should be there. Snake, start by going up to the surface. Look for a way out of the basement. Hey,
Да, у него
Snake,
нет наномашин, и
that
никто не
emblem on
узнал в
Meryl's
мире, где
uniform,
все на наномашинах
that's
строится.
Foxhound, isn't it?
Yep.
I thought Meryl was with the 01 unit. I mean, I know she's attached to Foxhound and all, but still.
Covert special forces units do this kind of thing all the time. They use
Ну да,
emblems
вот
that
опять же,
don't
нельзя
mean
же было
anything,
просто
like
оставить это в
skulls and
покое,
stuff.
да? В
Like
первых двух
disinformation?
Metal Gear'ах Snake это
something
часть
like that.
Фоксхаунда, в МГС-1
I
он
wonder if that's
убивает
really all it
Фоксхаунд,
is. Maybe she's still got some lingering
в
attachment.
МГС-4
You think
теперь,
so?
значит, Мэрил это
I meant to
Фоксхаунд.
Foxhound.
I knew that.
It's okay if Meryl wants to cling to the past. I just want her
Yeah?
to be happy.
Не
That's
понял?
all. Hey, Snake, since when did you learn
Просто
how to use
эмблема, ну.
CQC?
I got the training back when I was in
Нельзя обойтись
Foxhound,
без
but I never used it in
фан-сервиса.
actual combat.
Вот я о
You
чем.
had those skills all this time and never used them? Why?
Понятно же, самого Фоксхаунда не существует. Здесь, по-моему, США не существует в этом сеттинге уже.
Big boss?
Never
Вот
felt right
важный
using a
вопрос.
technique learned from a man who
Хоть
betrayed
раз и
his
слово...
unit.
Блин, я вот сейчас... Очень важный вопрос. Так, вот я сейчас об этом еще отдельно поору, но да, у меня прям мысль пришла в голову. Да, первый МГС был очень сильно про... И второй. Первый и второй МГСы были очень сильно про Америку. Ну, во-первых, они обе проходили непосредственно в Америке. И, ну... Первый был там и про DARPA, и там какой-то Defense Secretary был антагонистом. Все упиралось в Америку очень сильно. Америка отправляла Снейка вообще туда. Да, во втором МГСе у нас буквально был президент Америки, и мы выясняли, что на самом деле страну контролируют злоебучие патриоты. В МГС-4 я сейчас... У меня вот очень большой вопрос. Хоть раз прозвучит слово Америка, USA, вот это вот, или нет? Я предлагаю на это обратить внимание, потому что у меня ощущение такое, что они стерли просто все страны ластиком вообще как будто с карты мира. И у них Middle East, значит, да, South America, Eastern Europe, но да, США даже не будет толком. Вот, поэтому... Это я к чему? Это я к тому, что я хотел сказать, что Фоксхаунда как юнита больше нет, а параллельно я понял, что не только Фоксхаунда нет, США нет. Нету страны, которой этот юнит принадлежал, потому что МГС-4 стерла все страны. Вот я о чем. Поэтому официально Фоксхаунд не переформировали, но потому что Мэрил может себя назвать Фоксхаундом, и никто ей ничего не скажет. Скрипт игры можно через поиск посмотреть нужные слова. Так, окей. Сейчас. Да, я немножко верну. Я сейчас к этому... Во. УСА. Опять промахнулся. УСА 0. 0. Америка. Но только South, да? Да. Ну, такое. US? Ну хорошо, давайте US. Но это AS будет. А, не, ну да. US Military назвали Гекко Ирвингом, точно. The M4, Carbine Model by the US Army. Ну, такое. А, ну вот, то есть Мэрил это informant in the US military. Все-таки. То есть она все-таки в US military, так что, наверное, можно сказать, что она Foxhound по делу апроприировала, получается. Так, давно начали, ну, час назад, посмотрели полчаса. Вообще, да, надо запускать без пауз. Да, в Райзинге страны неймдропались много и по делу. Ну, вот. Ну да, вот этот вот абсолютно ржачный момент, давайте вот посмотрим на него, да. Все это время Metal Gear 1, Metal Gear 2, Metal Gear Solid 2, все это время Solid Snake знал, как использовать CQC.
QC. I got the training back when I was in Foxhound, but I never used it in actual combat.
Почему?
You had those skills all this time and never used them? Why?
The man who taught me was my former commander in Foxhound.
А теперь вопрос, почему ты их не использовал в Metal Gear 1 и 2?
Big Boss?
Never felt right using a technique learned from a man who'd betrayed his unit. Thinking back, CQC as a concept was way ahead of its time. Nobody was using it yet. Not the Green Berets, or the SEALs, or the CIA paramilitaries.
And then earlier this year, the Pentagon declassifies Big Boss's file for some reason. All of a sudden, his story is the stuff of pop culture. Books, magazines, the net. And now people are taking another look at CQC.
Тоже вот хороший вопрос, да? Какой вообще простор был у них? Ну, вот раскрыть вот эту тему, да? Очень многое, ну, начиная с первого МГС, весь был про наследие Биг Босса. Просто вот с начала до конца. И, ну, это была такая внутрисемейная разборочка. Здесь же речь идет о том, да, что теперь Big Boss это all the rage in the entire world. И вот было бы классно как-то на это посмотреть, но ведь всем похуй.
The war criminal, reinvented as a hero.
Big Boss's exploits as a Cold War secret agent back in the 60s have made him a legend.
The less people know about the truth, the more they can fantasize.
Is that why you finally decided to use CQC?
Да, они так оправдали появление
Because
CQC в
it's no longer
МГС-4.
just his
Да,
anymore?
понимаете?
The CQC soldiers use nowadays is a pale imitation. They're learning from reading about
Ну,
it.
все начали юзать CQC, вот и я начал. Я просто все время
There's
мог,
a
но...
world of difference.
Да.
Then you want to teach them the real thing. The way you learned from your Big Boss.
That's not it either. Some things aren't meant to be passed down to future generations. When some guy comes at me using that cookie-cutter imitation of CQC, my body just reacts naturally, that's all.
Ah, I get it.
То есть, еще раз, да, вот кто-то к нему лезет с CQC, и он автоматически реагирует. Metal Gear 2, Metal Gear 1, где буквально он выходил против Биг Босса, который вот, нет. Он в итоге Биг Босса зачем-то жарил сраной зажигалкой, а мог бы использовать против него CQC и победить его как надо. Да, Биг Босс выходил на него с оружием. Так CQC, оно же буквально о том, чтобы разобрать оружие, которое у врага в руках, как мы видели по третьей части. Собственно, третья часть нам демонстрировала, что такое CQC прямо вот в конце пролога. Когда босс приходит, просто выбрасывает его запчасти в пропасть вслед за супом харчо. Ладно, вот, пока чат не уехал. Занятная тема. С учетом редконов. Биг Босс умер, и патриоты теперь апроприировали его образ в своих целях. Я напомню уж две вещи. Во-первых, Биг Босс не умер. Во-вторых, его образ начали юзать только что. А как бы со времен Metal Gear 2 прошло дохуиллион времени, и патриоты с этим ничего не делали. Реально, ну, непонятно, как бы, а что случилось, как говорится.
An eye for an eye. Well, maybe not quite.
В Metal
I
Gear
reckon
1
they'd
2
lose
рукопашка
more
была
than just an
эффективна.
eye when going up
Он
against
просто
you.
делал простое комбо с фистингом.
Liquid is in the
Точно
PMC
так же,
camp
как в
just up
МГС
ahead.
1. Ты
We
можешь
need to get
вырубить
to him as
чувака
fast as we
в
can.
мили
But the
комбо.
fighting
Но
between
это
the
не
militia and the
CQC.
PMCs is really heating up. You know what to do. Use the battle conditions to your advantage and proceed with caution.
Otacon.
А, на
It
киборге в
looks like
CQC
the
не
militia
работает.
got themselves an armored tank.
Окей,
Yup.
хорошо.
A BMP-3. It's an old Soviet-designed IFV. It's not quite up to MBT defensive standards, but it's got enough armor to protect it against medium-caliber machine gun rounds. The militia could use it as a barricade against PMC gunfire.
Вот,
your advantage.
вот понеслось, да? Сколько аббревиатур в одной реплике? Примерно столько же, сколько в одной строчке почнуто War Thunder.
To help you proceed without having to face the PMCs. Snake, use that IFV as a
Что здесь
shield to
делал
help you
Биг
get to
Босс столько лет
Liquid's
после
PMC
МГ-2?
camp.
У патриотов в
Looks
подвале
like they just
сидел.
took out a BMP-3.
It was one of those PMC tank busters. Nice piece of work.
Tankbusters?
But now there's one less shield.
БМП
for you
это
to use.
танкбастер?
Watch
Что?
out for stray bullets. The
Что?
enemy's not too discriminating.
They're not getting me on a cheap kill. I'll watch my back.
Those things just wipe the floor with the militiamen.
Must be the special unit that wounded militiaman was talking about.
And now the wreckage is blocking the way. Snake, head straight for
В чем прикол
Liquid's
CQC
camp.
как особой техники? Я тоже не
Snake,
понимаю, но они реально
there are more
хайпают ее.
differences between the militia and the PMCs than you may think. For one thing, the PMCs are flush with cash,
С
so they
помощью
usually have
CQC
the
Снейк
latest
разбирает
gear.
киборга, это вообще офигенно.
Looks that way. Weapon systems, combat suits, tactical vests, communications equipment. All the latest toys.
On top of that,
В
they're
МГС-3
running on
можно
the
было победить
SOP
босса через
system,
поджигание
which
ее
keeps
жопы
them in
факелом.
constant contact with each other during battle. The militia, on the other hand, are a little more than amateurs. Most haven't even had basic combat training. And their equipment is nothing to brag about either. They're just barely scraping by.
Ну, короче.
Their weapons don't seem to be controlled by the system.
Да, во.
The ones
То
I
есть,
picked up work for me
это
just
сектор
fine.
газа,
Right.
и хамасовцев
PMC's
давят
weapons
патриоты.
won't. You can steal their guns, but they'll most likely be locked and unusable. Remember that. Just a little farther to
Ну,
Liquid's
то
camp.
есть, не?
Check your radar
По-моему,
to see
да.
which way to go.
Все сходится.
Snake, these enhanced soldiers seem to be using some sort of device to cling to the walls.
Doesn't look like they have spikes or suction cups.
This is only a
Истребитель
guess,
танков
but I
это
think their
Tank
gloves
Destroyer,
and
а не
boots might have some
танкбастер, и
mechanism that
БМП это
employs
точно не
van der
истребитель
Waals
танков.
force. It's a type of mutual interaction that occurs between two electrically neutral particles. Geckos use it to crawl up walls and across ceilings.
Oh, that kind of gecko. But those things are a hell of a lot lighter than a human.
Well, around 10 years ago, I read about an experiment where they reportedly suspended an object weighing 100 grams using a 5mm square piece of adhesive tape. Assuming the technology's advanced since then, I don't see why these guys couldn't be climbing all over the walls.
Otacon, what about Vamp? How he ran up that support pillar in the big shell. You think that's how he did it?
You mean, did he have this technology? He could have, yeah.
So it wasn't that he had some freak supernatural powers.
Hey, when technology starts to test the limits of our imagination, what's the difference? Snake,
It's magic!
remember how I told you the militia were basically amateurs?
Yeah. From what I've seen, though, they're holding their own. Not quite ready to lie down and give up, at least.
Right. The militia have hired operators working for them. You're disguised as one now. They make for pretty good commanders in battle. Well, maybe you haven't noticed because you're not actually working as one. But those operators are all over the place, shouting out orders and giving signals. The militia's ability to organize themselves in battle largely depends on their presence. Heaven forbid one of those operators gets taken out. The chain of command would dissolve, along with any real combat effectiveness. Are those Gecko on that truck? I always pictured Gecko as these big, hulking things.
Да, маленький.
But I guess they can fold up
Чё,
pretty
Гранди
small
попадет
too.
в подписку, которая не
Imagine
вышла на
that.
PlayStation.
I'll
Вышла
bet
же,
I
я
could
ее
fit
прошел
one
до
through my front
PlayStation.
door if I tried. What do you think?
Thinking about redecorating?
Come on. You don't think I'm that weird, do you? Snake, I've been doing some research.
Чел, ты свою мамку ебал. You don't think I'm that
Those
weird?
militia are
Yes, you
generally
fucking
made up of
are.
volunteers. But they're not just homegrown civvies who've been handed guns and told to fight. It looks like there's a locally based PMC. A small one, but it's there. So the militiamen you're seeing are most likely mercenaries hired by that PMC.
So you've got PMCs led by PMCs, fighting PMCs. A real showcase for the war economy.
This is the world we live in, Snake.
Ехал ПМС через ПМС.
I knew it. Snake, you're here to kill Liquid, aren't you?
That's the mission. Are you going to stop me?
My mission is to inspect the PMCs. I'm not in a position to take action. All I can do is stand by and watch. I can't help you, understand? I'm a peacekeeper, here to keep order.
Understood. Otacon.
Он ебал не
What the
мамку, а
hell?
мачеху. Ну,
That was Vamp. I'm sure of it. I'll never forget that face.
Those were PMC soldiers with him. Is he involved in Liquid's plan?
We watched him die in Manhattan. Damn it, he won't leave us alone.
он же убежал потом, нет?
Could Vamp be
Или я забыл
immortal?
чего-то? Он столько
Not a
раз
chance.
умирал.
This is the real
Он
world,
же,
not some
он же
fantasy
ему
game.
вскрыл после того, как он
I
умирал.
swear, the next time he
И упал в
shows up-
суперводу.
Not now, Otacon.
Right. I know. Snake, according to satellite imagery procured by Mei Ling, the facility where Naomi's being held is to the north, along a mountain road. I'm sending the location to your map.
Mei Ling. What's she up to these days?
Taking command of the Missouri, apparently.
The Missouri. That's a World War II battleship.
The museum contract in Hawaii expired some time ago. I hear it's now being used as a virtual training vessel.
О, кто же был в концовке МГС-2 на заднем плане? Ну да, я больше о том, что
But rather to get
он же
sailors used to
убивает
seamanship
Эмму,
on
и
an
потом
analog
ты его
vessel.
не трогаешь,
Or
разве
so I
нет?
hear. After the mess at Shadow Moses, Mei Ling kinda got put out to pasture.
Even so, to be
Revengeance
captain at
канон.
her age, that's pretty impressive.
Rumor has it she caught the eye of some lecherous old admiral who got her promoted. She always did have a thing for older men.
Maybe it's too early to retire after all.
Thinking of taking a little training on an analog vessel, Snake?
No. At this point, I've got no need for any more training.
Fair enough. Listen, Snake. When you get there, remember, the conflict between the PMCs and the rebels has nothing to do with your mission. There's no reason for you to get involved or take sides. That
Чел,
said, creating some sort of impact on the battlefield could produce better conditions for
мы это
sneaking.
знаем с самого
The
начала
rebels are
игры.
targeting the facility being used by the PMCs as a base. This is more or less the same spot where Naomi's being held. If you aid the rebels, they might get rid of some of the PMCs and help carve a path for you to sneak
Ладно,
in.
короче, это Южная
That
Америка, судя
freak
по
I
всему.
just saw, with the tentacles, was it using the same octo camo system as my suit?
Yeah?
I thought that technology was of your own design.
Actually, I kind of based it on some designs Sonny snagged off the net.
And the data came from?
DARPA?
So in other words, we're on equal ground technologically.
Sorry. I guess I should have told you.
And by the looks of things, they know I'm coming
МГС-2
too.
была последней
Yeah,
адекватной
it could be a
игрой.
trap.
Эта
Stay
претенциозность
sharp.
просто невыносима. МГС-2 была
Snake,
невероятно
I see you found yourself a
претенциозной и
uniform
максимально
from the old
неадекватной.
regime's army.
Ну,
It's
то
just
есть
like the ones the rebels are
вообще,
wearing.
по-моему, не в тему.
Yeah, just my size too.
The rebels are a heck of a lot less likely to shoot at you if you're wearing that uniform. Don't hesitate to put it on if you're feeling a little naked.
I'll do that.
Of
Feeling
course,
a
you have to
little
act the part
naked.
too. Don't forget to play nice.
Don't worry. I'll behave.
Naomi's
Финал
lab is
ложек не
north of your
открывается.
present position.
Должен, не
The
должен. Все
direction of
должно
the
быть
lab is
нормально.
indicated on your
И не
radar.
сюрприз, что он не
Use it to plan
открывается.
your next move.
Мне просто пока нет времени
The
его
low
обновлять,
oxygen
но...
levels in this high-altitude mountainous area must be having a negative effect on the nanomachines. The PMCs are showing signs of unusually aggressive behavior. Watch your back, Snake.
Последний адекватный игрок
The
был
rebel
Death
soldiers are
Stranding.
in the plaza now, rounding
Мне
up the
кажется, тоже
prisoners they
совершенно
took in the last
неадекватные ни
battle.
в сюжете, ни в
Remember how I
геймплее.
was telling you the PMCs are getting more and more prone to violence? Well, there's a
МГС-3,
fair
я
chance
считаю,
this might
последний
not
был.
turn out so well for those rebels. Normally, I'd advise
Опять
you to
повстанцы,
continue on with
кстати.
your objective, but
То есть только что была
I feel for those
милиция,
guys.
а эти
Look,
rebels, и это
if you do
единственное
decide to do the right
отличие.
thing, you'll have
То
to
есть
take down
просто
those
другое слово
PMCs.
используется.
It's
Но
your
кто
call,
они,
Snake.
почему они?
The PMC the regime hired is French, isn't it?
It sure is. Pieuvre Armament. Octopus Armaments. Why?
And this battlefield ad I'm looking at, it's written in French. Les tentacules de la pieuvre pour votre guerre. It means something like arms of the octopus, arms for your war.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Fluent in 6 languages. You know, I bet the octopus...
Хоть раз где-то, хоть в одной другой игре нам говорилось, в каких языках Снейк сечет, и почему он вообще ни разу, ни в одной предыдущей части это не показывал мне это самое. Чешский он не знает, да? Ну, а какие знает?
Octopus never saw it coming. Somebody using its limbs to design a wartime advertisement?
You use what you can. That's what we humans do.
Sounds like something a Procure on-site expert would say.
Is that so, Otacon?
I'm kidding, I'm kidding.
О, все-таки все открывает, хорошо.
Naomi's lab is to the north. Head north, Snake. Head for Naomi's lab. Follow the mark on your radar, Snake.
Стартовые заставки говорится,
You're
war has
still a
changed,
long
it's
way
no
from
longer about
Naomi's
nations,
research lab.
ideologies or
The
ethnicity.
direction of the lab is indicated on your radar. Use it to plan your next move. Snake.
Да, но также не говорится it's about what, да? Только что мы вот слышали про Ближний Восток, что там несчастная страна, которую расхуярили всякими конфликтами во время Холодной войны. Она так и не восстановилась. В ней угандошенная экономика, в ней бедные люди. Они ничего себе не могут позволить, кроме как пойти работать в ЧВК. Ну, то есть... И их еще угнетает какое-то правительство, которое вместо того, чтобы кормить людей, кормит их свинцом. И ЧВК еще себе, на себя нанимает, да? То есть конфликт в целом, он описан, ну, плюс-минус. Но нам продолжают говорить, что война изменилась, и это значит it's not about. Это буквально самая стандартная вещь. Злое правительство против каких-то вот... повстанцев, которые за что-то свое воюют, да. Тут то же самое. Тут есть правительство, которое наняло французов, и повстанцы, которые, опять же, чем-то недовольны. War hasn't changed. Потому что это, ну, посмотрите в какую-нибудь, в сторону любой Африки, да, и у вас там будут такие же абсолютно гражданские войны, где правительство делает какую-то хуйню, а местные дикари с калашами бегают и пытаются правительство угандошить. Ну, nothing has changed. Я не понимаю, да, что Кодзима пытается сказать. Когда ты говоришь, что что-то изменилось, тебе не надо говорить, чем оно перестало быть. Тебе надо сказать, чем оно стало. И у него нет ответа на вопрос, чем оно стало.
You know the men and women in the rebel army were once regular soldiers in the
Ну
national.
вот, пожалуйста.
When the current regime seized power,
А ну?
they were either stripped of their ranks or left of their own accord. At any rate, the vast majority were in the army when the old regime implemented the SOP system.
Hold on. You're saying they've got nanomachines in their bodies?
Exactly. But when the regime changed, the system expunged their IDs. That's why they can't use ID guns and fight with naked guns instead. On the other hand, it also means the government can't control the rebels' actions through the system. Or you can look at it another way. If you get a weapon from the rebels, there's no need to involve Drebin. You can use it as is.
Ну, как бы, я думаю, что нынешний условный Хамас и так без особых негативных эмоций вон 7 октября устраивает.
Might be the fastest way to get you where you need to go. Something to consider, anyway.
Snake, there's someone I'd like you to meet. A member of the mission staff.
МГС-2 конспирология глубина есть, а не шляпа.
Psychological counselor.
Не, ну,
A lot of soldiers can't handle the stress of battle.
это не
End up
отменяет то, что
panicking.
МГС-2 неадекватно.
She'll be useful in helping you
МГС-3
understand the
просто
mindset of both the PMC and rebel soldiers.
веселый трешачок с начала до
She-
конца.
Rosemary.
Nice to meet you, Snake.
This is Rosemary. She used to work as a data analyst at the Pentagon, but moved to combat support during the Big Shell incident.
Yeah. She was in charge of Jack's files, wasn't she?
After that, she studied psychology. And now she's a counselor with CSP, the Combat Stress Platoon.
Combat
Yeah,
Stress
I hear
Platoon.
psychological counseling's the hot field these days. Increased combat efficiency and productivity, all without ever picking up a gun.
I'll be acting as your personal counselor on this mission. Since the passing of the new millennium, one of the most important issues facing today's military is the mental care of its soldiers.
Только что нам говорили, что они из-за наномашин отбитые, и поэтому они без эмоций всех хуярят. Разве нет? Нет? Я что-то не понял?
I can also provide advice on soldier psychology from a threat assessment perspective. Contact me anytime. I'll be standing by here at home with Roy, but I'm on a different circuit. The frequency is 147.79.
Her advice will have a positive effect on your psych gauge.
Ugh.
Survival on the battlefield depends on your psychological well-being. Lose your cool and your body stops doing what you tell it to. Even a veteran soldier like you.
Трешачок или вторая часть на максимально рафляная. Третья это душная игра на серьезных щах.
When your psych is running low,
Нет.
ask her for advice. It'll help keep you in peak condition and focused on the mission.
By the way, Colonel, isn't that
Третья
your
это
house?
сразу
Well, yes.
трешовый
The one you
Джеймс
married,
Бонд.
the one that Meryl was talking
Без
about.
каких-то глубоких
It's Rosemary,
мыслей,
yes.
кроме,
Didn't I tell you
может быть,
before?
истории босс
News to
с
me.
концовкой ее.
What about Jack?
Jack.
Jack from Foxhound, codename Ryden. I seem to remember him being engaged to Rose.
Oh, we lost all trace of him.
Jack's gone. I used to work with the guy. He saved Sonny from the Patriots.
He disappeared soon after that.
What about you? Jack disappeared and you just moved in on Rose?
I was consoling her over her loss, and one thing just led to another.
She's young enough to be your daughter.
Yeah, lucky me, huh?
Huh. Now I see why Meryl was so disgusted.
Meryl said something about me.
Yeah, I believe her words were, "I'll never forgive that womanizing piece of shit."
I see.
Colonel, you knew she was...
То есть, смотрите, когда Мэйлинь прыгает в постель к какому-то адмиралу, чтобы получить себе кораблик, Снейк такой, может быть, мне рано еще уходить на пенсию. Когда Роузмари прыгает на Кэмпбелла, теперь я понимаю, почему тебя называли disgusting piece of shit. Она достаточно молода, чтобы быть твоей дочкой. Ах ты ублюдок. Буквально подряд эти диалоги идут в этой нарезке.
Was our informant in the Middle East, didn't you? Was it you who put her up to it?
Yes. I used my connections in the army to get Meryl the job.
You wanted your daughter someplace where you could keep an eye on her.
Look, everybody involved in the incident at Shadow Moses either lost their job and status, or in the case of Meryl and Mei Ling, got brushed aside. Meryl wanted to make a comeback, a difference. We can't all be as strong as you, Snake. Some of us can't bear living like pariahs.
Since Shadow Moses, I've been branded a criminal.
I think of it as my own small way of making it up to my daughter, my own flesh and blood. In any case, call Rosemary if you ever need advice.
Snake, look at those rebel soldiers over there.
Опять.
It looks like they're trying to sneak
Очень
up on the
душный босс без
PMC
капли юмора или
base, just like
иронии.
you are.
Ну да, окей,
You can find
ее
your own route if you
линия,
want
она
to, but it might
серьезная.
be
Вся
easier to
остальная
just follow
МГС-3
them.
вне босса, это
Or you might try
сплошной
inciting a
трешак.
battle between the
Просто вот
PMCs and the rebels and slip
ироничный
past them
трешак
in the
во многом.
confusion. You should consider fighting alongside the rebels for a little while.
А линия
It'll help
босс,
soften up the
ну,
PMC's
по-моему, она,
defenses,
в отличие
which
от
should work to your advantage when it's time to
большинства
sneak
того,
in.
что Кодзима делает, хорошо
In any
написано
event,
и
choose
kinda
whichever method
makes
you think is
sense.
best given the situation and stick to it. Do you hear the birds, Snake?
Yeah, I noticed a change in their song a while back. They're trying to warn other birds about some kind of disturbance. There must be people coming. If they get too close, the birds will stop calling and fly away.
Good observation. Birds are nature's greatest security alarms.
You should pay attention to how they sing and behave.
Они пытались это тут вроде
What's on your
механикой
mind?
сделать,
Just
но...
checking in.
There doesn't seem to be any problem with your psych. So far, so good. Proceed with the mission.
Got it.
Snake, the gauge below your
Ugh,
life
они
gauge
опять
is your
это
psych
начинают.
gauge.
Yeah, you told me about that.
Then you'll hear it again. The psych gauge affects the rate at which your life gauge recovers. In other words, how fast your wounds heal. It also greatly influences how well you perform various actions. When your
Концовка
psych
МГС
gauge is
перед
full,
последняя
your life
хорошая вещь,
recovers
которую
quickly, and
Кодзима
you shouldn't have
написал.
any
Я
problems
полностью
doing what you need to
согласен.
do. Remember, your body isn't the only thing driving your
Босс — это
performance.
единственный
Your
женский
mind
персонаж,
is every
которого
bit as important.
он нормально
Hey,
написал. Все
I don't let
остальные
my
— это
mental
просто
state affect my
пиздец.
combat efficiency.
You may think that, Snake, but the truth is, you're not as young as you used to be.
Could have fooled me.
It's your psyche that's keeping you alive inside. So you better take it seriously. Keep a close eye on your psych gauge.
All right, all right.
Oh, hi, Snake.
Rose,
Good for you, Snake. You're taking great care of your psyche. No worries on my end.
glad to hear it.
If you're that full of
Rex.
energy, there's nothing for me to worry about. You're doing fine, Snake. Go ahead and focus on the mission. Hello, Snake.
What do you have for me, Rose?
You've got plenty of psyche. You should be in good shape to complete the mission.
Блять, какая она скучная.
Snake, what's gotten into you? I mean, you know I'm always here for a talk as long as it doesn't interfere with the mission, but... Snake, your psyche is right where it needs to be. Focus your energy on the mission. Good luck. How are things going, Snake?
Dandy.
It looks like your psych gauge is okay for now.
Well, at least there's some good
Она не
news.
похожа на
But
Роуз из
remember, you're in
МГС-2
danger,
вообще, да.
Snake. Stay alert and focus on getting to
Никакого
safety.
континьюити
It's okay.
между разными
I know you'll
частями
be fine.
МГС
Don't give up.
вообще нету. И,
Sorry if I kept you waiting.
ну, сейчас вот пройдя Metal Gear 2, я
What's the
прям вот
situation?
гарантирую, что
It looks like your psych gauge is okay for now.
Well,
МГС —
at
это
least there's
фактически
some good
трехмерный
news.
ремейк Metal
But the
Gear 2,
enemy's
но
on your tail,
нарративно они
and it's
вообще не
putting you under a lot of
стыкуются.
stress. Find safety as soon as you can.
Это
It's okay.
между ними
I know you'll be
пропасть.
fine. Don't give up.
Так же
Do
и
you need
здесь.
something?
Up for a quick psych
Типа
analysis.
между
But being
МГС
sought
2
by
и
the
4
enemy leads to
полная
considerable
пропасть, хотя одна
psychological
сиквел
pressure.
другого.
Try and get back to safety as soon as possible. I know you can do it, Snake. Hang in there. It's Rose.
What's the verdict?
I see you've got plenty of psych left.
Great, thanks.
Are you doing all right,
Вот
Snake?
это я не понимаю. Ой, у тебя много, у тебя шкала
Stay alert
заполнена.
and
Я это
focus
сам
on getting to
вижу.
safety. Snake, are
Yes.
you all right?
You tell me.
You
No
tell me.
problems with your psych gauge, I see.
Cool.
Hi, it's Rose.
Охуеть,
What's
как...
my status?
Вау.
Anything wrong, Snake?
Just checking in.
Let's see. Your psych is looking a bit low. And the enemy's after you too. It'll be difficult to recover your psych in this state. Get to safety as soon as you can. I know you can do it, Snake. Hang in there.
Это вот у вас называется психологическая помощь? Пиздец просто. Я думал, что... Я просто никогда не звонил, потому что после МГС-2 я не хочу слушать Роуз вообще никогда в жизни больше. Но я сейчас для себя открываю то, насколько, оказывается, она абсолютно невыносимо бесполезная. Просто конченое говно.
You seem to be having problems with your psych. And with the enemy on your trail,
Okay,
you
I
can't
believe in
concentrate
you,
on getting your
Snake.
psych back up. You'll have to find safety first. You're going to make it out of this. I know you will.
You
How are
can
things
do
going,
it!
Snake?
Dandy.
Ганбате!
try and
Та
up your psych.
такая!
Snake?
Got an update for me, Rose?
And you're being pursued by the enemy. Not exactly the best conditions for recovering your psych. The sooner you can get to safety, the better.
Капец. Это
Who is
что
this?
такое? Это...
Snake. That voice.
There's an ambush ahead. Government and PMC troops. You could be shot from anywhere. Watch your surroundings. Look to the distance.
Is this Jack?
Jack is dead. Snake, I'm at your side.
Wait.
That's a power station those PMCs are guarding. It's a key piece
Jack
of
is
infrastructure,
dead.
so it's bound to be heavily defended. The rebels will surely
Я
see it
режу
as a
вдоль, а не
high-value target.
поперек.
When those two groups get around to fighting, it's not going to be pretty. You've got a tough choice to make. Follow them, or find your own way around.
Да, Кодзима даже тут успел спиздить.
Until now, the rebels have been engaging the PMCs in an effort to capture the power station without damaging it. But looking at the way they've been fighting lately, I'm seeing a slight change in the rebels' strategy. They don't seem as concerned about
Мне
keeping the
так
facility
похуй.
intact.
Атакон, мне так похуй.
This was originally their land. Even if the infrastructure takes a few hits.
Что значит this was originally their land? Если они повстанцы, то это и есть их страна. Если они повстанцы, это значит, что они не внешние агрессоры. Это значит, что они тут живут буквально. It wasn't their land, it is their land. Господи, Кодзима, у тебя нулевой IQ
As long
просто.
as they regain control, they can always rebuild later. Right now, their top priority is thinning the PMC's ranks. At least, that's what it looks like from here.
You could be right. They might even be trying to take out the power station now.
Wow, power station. I care so
Render the
much.
switchboard inoperative and you'll shut the whole place down.
The PMCs are likely expecting that, and will fight tooth and nail to defend the facility. Watch yourself out there.
Will do.
This is Rose. How can I help?
I
You
need a psych
cannot.
check.
Your psych is getting dangerously low. You need to recover it.
Okay.
I know.
Snake, are you okay? Your psych's looking awfully low there.
I know.
I can't seem to get out of this slump.
You should find a nice, safe place to rest and replenish your psych. It may help to equip some Munya, too, if you have any.
Munya?
It'll help you to relax, and should help your psych gauge recover faster.
Okay, I'll give it a try.
Your psych is at an extremely dangerous level. You need to take immediate action to recover it.
Ну потряси бубу, я не знаю. What makes you tense? Меня пытаются убить, наверное, это.
They can be psychological, social, biological, chemical, or physical. In battlefield terms, that corresponds to the presence of enemies, the battlefield environment, biological and chemical weapons, and physical wounds and hunger caused by combat. Any of these factors can cause
Hunger caused by combat.
Stress to build up. So you need to pay attention not only to your health, but also to your psych, especially when engaged in combat. You'll be putting yourself at risk if you lose any more psych. Take any steps necessary to recover it.
Will do.
Snake, you should try and recover your psych. I've already explained a number of ways to do it. Pick one that's convenient and get your psych back up. You've lost a large amount of psych. You'd better take care of that right away.
Got it.
It looks like your psych is down. Do what you can to change that by getting rid of stressors. I think you'd better stop and recover your psych before you go any further. Snake, I'm behind you 100%. Don't give up. Snake, I think you've got a lot of stress built up.
Да, разговариваю с тобой. Капец, просто, то есть, я думал, что, да, я просто, я не подозревал, насколько она невозможная. То есть, ее тебе представляют как психолога, которая поможет тебе справиться со стрессом. В итоге все, что она говорит, это, чувак, ты стрессуешь, ну просто не стрессуй, ладно? Просто разберись со стрессорами, хорошо? Просто, ну, Мунья... Hang in
Try
there,
to relieve
Snake.
some of it. It'll help your psych gauge. Rose here. How's it going?
Super.
You're starting to get pretty low on psych.
Yeah, I know.
Snake, your psych gauge is affected by the conditions you're in. Staying in a place that's too hot or too cold or being exposed to combat conditions for extended periods causes stress to build up in your body and mind. The more tension you've accumulated, the more your psych gauge decreases. As the gauge decreases, it starts to negatively affect your performance. Your hands
да,
start to
Дима
shake
считает,
and
что
your life
Аляска
gauge
рядом с
recovers more
Гавайями.
slowly.
Это правда.
Vision gets blurry and you can't make out your targets. All of these things impair your ability to complete the mission. So be sure and keep an eye on your psych gauge at all
Японцы-оккупанты называли
times.
бордели станцией
This is Rose. How can I
утешения.
help?
I need a psych check.
Ну,
Your psych is in bad shape. You should really think about that.
I'll look
вот
into it.
Кэмпбелл
You've lost quite a bit
набрал
of psych.
станцию
You ought to
утешения,
do
она не
something about
работает
that.
как надо.
Take my advice. Work on building back your psych. Trust me, it'll make a big difference in your mission.
Блядь, да, даже в «Утомленных солнцем 2», короче, чел перед смертью себе восстановил псайк тем, что посмотрел на голые сиськи дочки Михалкова. И тут вот можно было, ну типа, я не знаю, тут, речь же о том, что тут можно сиськаксиксом трясти, и у нее бубзы будут жонглироваться так же. Но она сама для этого ничего не делает.
You there? There's something I wanted to ask you.
You're not hurt, are you?
Hurt? What are you talking about?
Oh, nothing. Just making sure. Forget I asked.
What's the matter?
I was catching a few minutes of shut-eye.
Станция
and I
утешения
had a
похожа на
dream.
PlayStation, нет,
A
я бы не
dream where you were in
догадался.
an explosion. It seemed so real. I couldn't help but get a little worried.
И к тому же не
Relax,
похоже,
I'm
потому что
alive.
по-японски
Death by
PlayStation это
explosion, huh?
PlayStation.
It's true. One blast and I'm off to meet my maker.
Not all explosives are the stationary bomb type. For example, if you hear a pin being pulled out of a grenade, you know what's coming next. You need to be aware of these things.
Yeah, I'll make a point of it. Thanks for looking out for me, Rose.
Don't mention it. I'm impressed, Snake. You're keeping your psych up better than I expected. Maybe you were right about not needing my help. Here's a good way to think about your psych gauge. Low psych equals high stress. So the best way to replenish your psych gauge is to relieve your stress. Being pursued by the enemy can be a tremendous source of stress. By the same token, staying out of sight and giving your body a rest relieves stress and allows the psych
Бля,
gauge
если
to
я
recover.
представлю, что Роуз
Find a
взорвут
safe
нахер,
place
я
where
мне
you can
точно
crouch or
стресс
lie down and just
починится.
lay low for a while. Also, just getting out of extreme heat or cold can have a positive effect on the gauge. Pay attention to how the psych gauge moves and find a stress relief technique that works for you.
Ну, подрочи.
Yes, Snake?
Just here for my checkup.
Your psych is in excellent condition. Everything looks good to go.
Твой змей тверд.
Eating replenishes more than just your stamina. It also helps your psych gauge recover. Since ancient times, military commanders have struggled with the problem of how to secure food for their men. How much soldiers get fed, not to mention how well, has a direct effect on morale.
Да. Стресс, psych gauge, стресс, psych gauge. Даже не просто psych. Вот это вот меня особенно прям убивает. Потому что она говорит не то, что у тебя там менталочка плохая. Нет, у тебя шкала плохая, Снейк. Вот это вот...
Soft drinks and ice cream. They called them gedunk bars. The phrase is still used by sailors and Marines today.
Зачем они делают такой упор на вот эту условность? Мне кажется, это прям совсем плохо.
Capable of producing 5,000 gallons of ice cream an hour to feed soldiers on ships too small to have their own gedunk bars. They even had their choice, soft or hard. Napoleon once said, "An army moves on its belly." He knew what he was talking about.
Ну, наконец-то какая-то тривия.
We're in the middle of something here.
Have you ever eaten rations from a country other than the U.S.?
Of course I have.
The UN recently held a ration swap meet between military attachés from...
Конечно же, я ел целых 3 рациона Занзибар-ленда, и это были лучшие рационы в мире. Но вот это, конечно, это звучит абсолютно офигенно просто, типа, давай махнемся рационами. Какие рационы?
It was a momentous development in the cultivation of mutual understanding of other countries' cuisine.
Roy, this isn't really
Какой
On the
cuisine?
contrary, I want you to hear this too, Rose.
I've already heard it 100...
You'll survive. Anyway, Snake, I did a taste test and found that French rations were generally the best. The Italians weren't bad either. And the Japanese stuff was much better than I expected.
Really? That's wonderful.
But everyone seemed to agree that the worst rations of all were ours. America for the win.
All right. So what's your point?
Yeah, it must be nice to live in a country that knows how to cook. Those French rations, délicieux. I wish you could have been there to try some, Snake. And you too, Rose.
Colonel, what exactly are you...
Some of the best food I'd ever tasted, Rose.
I'm sorry, Snake. Ever since he went to that swap meet, it's all he can talk about. You think he'd never had a decent meal in his life.
No kidding. Wait a minute. Rose, who does the cooking at your house?
Me. Roy doesn't... What are you getting at?
Nothing. Never mind.
Ладно, вот эта шутка сработала. Вот эта шутка сработала, что Роуз настолько бесполезный кусок говна, что она не только не может мне Psych Gauge починить, она даже не может приготовить Кэмпбеллу что-нибудь, что было бы вкуснее сраной лягушки.
Mind. Colonel. My sympathies.
It's appreciated, Snake.
I actually like those American rations. Need something?
What's up, Doc?
Your psych is looking good right
Мы
now.
нашли один хороший диалог в игре.
Snake, you're a smoker, aren't you?
Not this again.
Just hear me out.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want someone smoking in front of my kids, of course.
You have no kids, enjoy your smokes.
But from a stress management perspective, smoking is obviously an effective relaxation measure for people like you.
Почему ты тогда сразу это не порекомендовала? Реально, все люди в мире знают, что Снейк дымит как паровоз. Это первое, что он сделал бы, когда ему нужно было бы снять стресс. И она об этом говорит после миллиона реплик. Ну, просто перестань стрессовать. Она не сказала ему, ну, покури первым же делом. А вы правда психолог-специалист? Платун, блин.
It actually raised your psych, didn't it?
Yeah.
But even so, I'm not going to downplay its effects on your health.
Так.
Your life gauge actually went down, didn't it? And the smell of tobacco can attract the enemy.
Yeah. I guess you're right.
Think carefully before lighting up, Snake.
Кстати, больше понравилось на старте 4 или 5.
Snake,
Нет, в 4 просто нет живого места.
I'm sure a big, strong guy like you can carry
5, по крайней мере, ну,
but the
не
stress
знаю.
of lugging heavy loads around can have
Можно
a
себя
negative effect on your
развлекать в
mental
5,
state,
в 4
causing your
негде себя
psych gauge to go
развлекать.
down.
But you never know what kind of equipment I'll need handy.
I'm not saying you shouldn't ever carry a lot of gear. I'm just saying it has its drawbacks. That's all.
You shut down the station, Snake. Nice job.
А, да, Station.
Could have done it in my sleep.
Now that they've lost
Этот
one of
один
their
хороший
bases,
гэг,
the
как будто
machine
по
troops
ошибке
will be
сюда
on the
попал.
defensive.
Я напомню, что в МГС 5 тоже есть ровно один хороший гэг, один хороший диалог, и он тоже про бургеры. Он про бургеры, он про еду.
So Snake, proceed with caution and don't let anybody see you. There doesn't seem to be any fighting going on there,
То есть в
but the enemy's out
целом
on patrol. Make sure they don't
сохраняется
spot you.
количество нормальных диалогов
Can you
на
hear me?
игру
This is
1.
Jack, isn't it?
I am Raiden. Jack is no more.
Where are you now?
I'm right beside you.
Raiden, where have you been all this time? What have you been doing?
On a mission. Finding something. For someone.
Finding what?
The corpse. Of Big Boss.
What?
I was asked to do this in exchange for Sonny's location.
Liquid?
No. The leader of a small resistance group. Her followers call her Matka Pluku.
Matka Pluku. Big Mama.
We'll finish this later. I'll follow your trail and catch up with you.
Wait, what about Big Boss's body?
It's with her now.
Her.
Окей.
What's going on, Snake?
Rose, I just got a call from Raiden. It sounds like he's close by.
С какого это языка? Я у вас хочу спросить.
Did he seem okay?
Yeah, as far as I could tell from his voice.
Really? That's great. Snake, I have a favor to ask.
What?
Don't let him know I'm involved in this operation, okay? I think it would be best to just leave him alone for now.
What happened between you and Jack?
Давайте, ладно. А, покороче есть? Давайте покороче, ладно, сори. Так, давайте, ага.
Hello, Snake.
What do you have for me, Rose?
Good for you, Snake. You're taking great care
Так,
of
а
your sight.
чё?
No
Покороче?
worries
Это
on
правда
my end.
покороче?
Glad to hear it.
Speaking of food, Snake.
Так, блин, что-то это...
We're in the middle of something here.
Мы только что
Have
это
you ever
смотрели,
eaten rat-
так что что-то... А, вот это надо было все-таки запустить. Да, пролистать.
Jack,
Ладно,
when you
давайте.
get home, let's have a homecoming party. Just the two of us.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I'll make dinner. Oh, what's wrong?
Well, that sounds good, but how about we eat out at that one restaurant instead? You know, the place that we went to recently with the amazing lobster.
Amazing
I really like that
lobster.
place.
Well, yeah, I guess that's okay too. Huh?
Nothing. I just love lobster. Yeah, can't wait. Woohoo!
Ой, господи, меня
Well, then
кринжит.
I'll make a
Ничего себе.
reservation. Promise me you'll come back
Ah.
safely.
Don't worry.
Уху,
Source that can be consumed or
Can't.
I'll make you my specialty.
Yeah, right.
Hmm?
No, nothing. Can't wait.
You've got rations. Ration in them yourself. Field ration combat and a part of his focus.
I prefer rations over Rose's home cooking.
That bad, huh? Thanks.
What's up, Snake?
Got an update for me?
We've got plenty of psych.
Сайк. Да, вот это то, что Снейк удивился от слова her, услышав, что это большая мама, да, это замечательно. С какого языка матка Плука? Если с чешского, то сейчас continuity проебался, потому что Снейк не знал чешского, а теперь, получается, знает.
Jack.
After the big shell incident, he became unstable. Memories began to resurface from his childhood when he fought for Solidus in the Liberian Civil War. And in the midst of all of that, the baby we had together, it hadn't even been born yet. Jack slowly stopped coming home. And when he did, he'd be dead drunk, sometimes covered in cuts and bruises. Roy was worried. He was Jack's commanding officer, but Jack just avoided him. I was all alone. And Roy was so kind to me. He's the one who encouraged me to become a counselor. I know it sounds like I'm making excuses, but I needed to get over it.
Чешский.
To move on with my life.
А, это
I'm worried about
матка
him, of
Плука, то
course,
есть
but
полка
I'm
буквально.
also
Плуку
afraid of
это
him.
полка. Это не Биг
Alright.
Мама.
I'll
Мать
keep my mouth
полка.
shut.
Понятно.
Thank you, Snake.
Пиздец.
Snake, you're now moving through a marsh. The swampy ground makes for poor footing, but all those tall rushes will help keep you hidden. Looks to have lots of other places you can hide, too. Snake, let's go over swimming. First, press the X button to submerge yourself.
We've
While
managed
underwater,
to
use the
avoid
left stick
drowning.
to move. To change directions, use the left or right stick. To surface, just swim upward. Snake, you're now passing through a salt pan. Groundwater saturated in halite springs to the surface, then basks in the sunlight to produce salt.
Deep red earth encrusted with sparkling white salt. It's quite a sight.
А там было
As you
такое?
can see, though, the view is a little too good. One false move and you'll be spotted.
Там
You
было
better be extra careful as you
Too
move
Good?
through
Я
there.
вообще не помню этого.
You're now at a supply depot. It's a pretty run-down old building, but part of it houses rebel prisoners, so don't expect security to be light. You're in a supply depot, and it looks like most of the rebel prisoners here have already escaped. So you're pretty much done there, aren't you, Snake? We've got to hurry to Naomi's lab. Wrap it up and let's get going. Snake, it's just a little farther to the lab. Don't get sloppy now and get yourself caught. It's an armored bulldozer. They're gonna use it to break down the gate. Snake, that's your ticket inside. Wait for them to bring it down and then charge on in. The lab where they're making Naomi do her research is somewhere inside. First things first, find a way to get inside that mansion. The rebels have pushed their way inside. This is the PMC's last stronghold. They'll stop at nothing to defend it. This battle's only gonna get bloodier from here.
And the bloodier the better. For me, at least.
That's only if you make use of the situation. Be ready for anything. Naomi should be somewhere inside the mansion grounds. Use your radar to guide you to her location. There should be a passageway leading to Naomi's lab. Look around for it, Snake. The video Naomi sent us contained data pinpointing the location of her lab. Naomi's waiting. Find her. Snake, you're right next to where Naomi is. But according to the data she provided, your elevation is just a little bit off. She must be up above you. Is there a ladder or something? If there is, use it to get up there. They're taking Naomi again. Don't let them stand in your way. Take them out and go after her. Naomi's lab is divided into multiple rooms and corridors. Make use of the lab's layout to give yourself cover. The enemy seems to be using disturbance tactics. They're trying to throw you off guard, create opportunities to strike. Watch for signs of attack and
Я
be
сейчас
on the lookout
начинаю
for
верить,
incoming
что
enemies.
Фукусима писал кодеки.
Your octo-camo can help hide you from enemy eyes. Use it to blend in with the background when the enemy's lost sight of you. It'll give
Ну,
you a
потому
critical edge
что
in battle.
реально
Let a battle drag on too long, and it'll start to take its toll
в
on
этой
your
игре
psyche.
пока что
Keep
был
that in
один
mind as you
диалог
fight.
и еще парочка кусков
Be sure to
тривии,
keep
и
an
это
eye on your
половина
psyche when
игры.
engaging the enemy. You'll get through this, Snake. How's your psych level? Are you holding up okay? You've got to break through there, or you'll never complete the mission. Hang in there, Snake.
То есть
Snake,
просто нету
Octopus's suit seems to work the
кодека.
same way as your octo-camo. It'll use mimicry and traps as weapons against you. Stay focused. Don't be deceived by its disguises.
It's...
Snake, the radar reacts when the enemy's presence is strong. Keep an eye on the radar at all times. Got that? Technically, your gear's about on par with the enemy's, so it won't be the deciding factor in this battle. Be aware of changes in your surroundings. Octopus may try and mimic things you'd never expect. Be particularly mindful of things you don't remember having seen before.
Otacon, doesn't that enhancement suit remind you of anything?
You mean those arm-like extensions? I think we've both got a pretty good idea. An offshoot of the battlesuit Solidus wore.
You think the BMBs are connected to him somehow?
I doubt it. But I'll tell you one thing. They're in an entirely different league than the other PMCs.
Слушайте, я вот не смотрел же совершенно никаких Человеков-пауков, но...
Watch out for them and keep your distance.
Will do.
That beast seems to laugh at everything.
At this point, no matter what you say,
Как,
the person will only respond one way.
The symptoms resemble those seen in Ganser syndrome.
Как
It's a
фанатам
type of
Человека-паука на
dissociative
Солидуса
disorder
смотреть вообще
characterized by
было?
irrelevant responses to the situation at hand. It often manifests itself in soldiers under extreme battlefield stress.
Бля, вот сейчас я вот это слушаю, кстати, у меня мысль такая, вот было бы охуительно, если бы одна из этих 4 тупых бабищ была бы с синдромом Туретта.
You mean she's not having a good time out here?
I doubt it. I'm starting to
Если
wonder
у
if she
Солидуса было
might not
всего
have
2
some kind of
щупальца, типа, это
deep-seated
не
psychological
считается?
trauma.
Окей.
You may think you've got more important things to worry about, but your psych level can have a significant impact on the course of battle. Keep an eye on it. Snake, letting your psych get too low will only lead to physiological problems that can make combat more challenging. Always mind your psych level, even while engaging the enemy.
Those spherical weapons Octopus is throwing. Floating bombs, I guess you'd call them. They seem to be custom made. I've never seen anything like them.
No kidding. They get a beat on me and home right in. Hard to shake them off.
I think they're a type of MAV, micro-air vehicles. Sort of like a distant cousin of the remote control missile.
How do I stop them?
From what I've seen, there's a time lag between
Ну,
when they latch
миссил
onto
или
the target
миссайл,
and
я до сих
detonation.
пор не знаю.
You can use that lag to your advantage. Shake them off before they detonate. They don't seem too sticky, so rolling on the ground ought to do the trick. Or you could shoot them out of the air before they hit you. You can do it. Listen, Snake, if one of Octopus's floating bombs sticks to you, roll around on the ground to shake it off.
Otacon, what's wrong? Why are you calling me over there?
Huh? What are you talking about? I didn't say anything.
It was you.
I'm
Neither
telling you, I
или
didn't call
neither.
you. This is no
Fuck.
time for jokes. You're supposed to be fighting
Да, я
octopus.
также.
Come on.
А Миссл это американское произношение.
Hey,
Ну,
Otacon.
ладно.
Otacon, what the hell were you thinking sending me over there?
Hold on a minute. I didn't tell you to go anywhere.
Thanks a lot. I just got nailed by a trap. Are you trying to get me killed?
wait a
Nailed
second,
by
Snake.
a trap.
Mimicry is a way of making your opponent see something they're not really seeing. It can be very effective in rendering your opponent psychologically vulnerable. It's easy to think she couldn't possibly be here. Be careful you don't fall into that trap.
From the looks of it, she's unarmed. And yet she's coming closer. I don't know what she's up to, but watch out, Snake.
Watch out for her when she comes at you, Snake. She's deadly at close range, just like those enhanced soldiers.
Yo, Snake, looking good today.
Drebin, what do you want?
That's cold, man. And here I was about to tell my very best customer about
Послушай тяжелую историю этой
that
бабищи.
camel skull cap you just picked up from Tentacle's shell. It utilizes the same kind of technology as your octo camo suit. Using the two together can get you even better results. I'd hang on to
Она
it if I was
напоминает
you.
Алину из Х4, да?
It's not my
Такая же
size or
скучная.
shape.
Yeah, looks like it could use a bit of tailoring before you can sport it. Not my line of work, but ain't you got a buddy who specializes in that kind of thing?
Somebody's done their homework.
Hey, it's my job.
Is that the real reason you injected me with those nanomachines? To spy on me?
I prefer the term customer data management myself.
Кто МГС-4 не скучный.
Relax,
Ну,
it's strictly confidential. I
да.
ain't gonna share it with anybody.
Then what did you mix a virus in with the nanomachines for?
Virus?
A certain virus was detected in my body. Are you saying it wasn't in the nanomachines you injected?
Look, you do know there are other folks who could have done this to you. And besides, what would I gain from infecting you? Better for me that you're out there kicking ass on the battlefield. I was watching you, Snake. You're a real piece of work. Never thought I'd meet the man who could take down Laughing Octopus single-handedly.
Просто отмахнулся
She
и
just kept
Снейку
on
нормально.
laughing. Now why do you suppose that is?
Something in her past.
You got it. She's from a village in Scandinavia. Little seaside
She
hamlet
was
home to all the
born
locals as
in
the
a
Devil's
small
Village. The
village.
place wasn't known for devils, though. It was known for
Known for
octopus. See, this was one of the
octopus.
few places in Europe where they ate octopus customarily. Anyway, there's this cult of crazies who for some reason hate the village. with a passion.
Культисты.
Then, when she was just a teenager, things get bad.
Drinking game for
These
us, это
nutcases get
хорошо.
their hands on some weapons and attack the village. Overnight, her sleepy little fishing town becomes a war zone.
Культисты перебили любителей какаяки.
Except
В Скандинавии. В Скандинавии.
plan for her.
А,
Something a whole lot worse than dying. Calling her the devil's child, they forced her to do the kind of thing you'd expect from one of Lucifer's own. After they made her torture her family and friends, they made her kill them. The whole time they were forcing her to laugh, howl like some sort of demon, like she was enjoying it.
Вот это вот реально что-то
What she
уровня
gonna do?
Metal Gear
Say no?
2.
They'd kill her too. So she let fear take control and did exactly as they told her. She butchered the bodies of the ones she loved and laughed while she did it. And as she bathed in their blood, it gradually turned from deep red to jet black. To her, it looked like the ink of an octopus.
А ты вот
The
это...
experience, Scott.
Теперь вопрос. А вот как эту историю можно рассказать, если не от первого лица? То есть я могу понять историю от первого лица, если бы кто-то рассказывал про такое, что с ним случилось. Но там же никто не подглядывал за этим происходящим. Кроме культистов.
Ever since then, she hasn't stopped
С
laughing.
тех пор девочка бегает и смеется. Как в том самом анекдоте.
Why are you telling me this? You expect me to feel sorry for her?
Вот,
No, I know you got no room for that stuff in your world. And besides,
да, зачем ты это рассказываешь? Ты можешь ответить на вопрос?
right. In a way, though, I guess it was the right thing to
Ответь на
do.
вопрос.
What was?
Fighting you cleansed her mind.
Ах,
All right, enough chit-chat. There's other beasts out there in them
То есть
woods.
просто вот, ну...
Watch your back.
Snake,
ах.
have you lost sight of the target? Whenever something moves, it leaves a trail behind.
А, да,
Track
сейчас
and
надо за
find
Наоми
Naomi's
бежать.
trail.
I'm
По...
not like Big Boss. Tracking isn't my strongest suit. When did you get so good at it?
After saving Sonny, I drifted around the globe. In Alaska, a tribal elder taught me some scouting techniques.
Drifted. You never went back to see
A
Rose.
tribal elder in
She doesn't
Alaska.
exist. No. Rose and I live in different worlds, different times. Her world has no place for someone like me. My place is here on the battlefield. Listen, Snake. Scouting is based on the principles of hunting. There are two fundamentals: awareness and tracking.
Awareness.
Awareness refers to locating a trail by paying careful attention to your surroundings. Tracking means to follow that trail. Your target's trail could be footprints, a branch they broke along the way, bent grass trampled underfoot. You need to feel for clues using all your senses. Sound, smell, touch, the direction of the wind. Watch
Про
how the
вкус
animals
забыл.
move. Listen for unusual bird calls. These are signs that someone may be disrupting the environment nearby.
You sound like a ninja.
Exactly. Ninja are the ultimate scouts. If your enemy is a skilled scout, they'll be doing the same thing. You may be the hunter, but you are also the hunted. To avoid enemy detection, move slowly, little by little. Don't disturb the air around you. Try to make as little noise as possible. Your pursuers will be doing the same, trying to sneak up on you without a sound. If you can't pick up the trail with your naked eye, switch the solid eye to infrared mode. That will enable you to see Naomi's footprints and any enemies lying in ambush.
Switch the solid eye to infrared. Got it.
But the sound it makes while engaged could end up giving your position away. So don't leave it on for too long.
Это ужасно.
All right.
Listen to your heart. Trust your senses as much as you can, and you will find Naomi's trail.
I'll give it a shot.
Naomi's left a clear trail.
Listen to your
Use
heart.
Ryden's advice to help figure out where she was taken. The enemy's probably setting up ambushes ahead. Keep an eye on your radar for signs of enemy presence.
Я бы сказал, что выслеживание он по следам на земле самый креативный из из МГС-4, но это будет еще более унизительно. Не, ну, там, по-моему, просто локация, она как-то фрагментирована на кучу маленьких экранчиков, кажется, да? То есть что-то в духе MSX, не? Вот, ну то есть там... То есть мне запомнилось, что это как бы интересная идея была, то есть это реально, наверное, единственный интересный геймплейный сегмент в игре, где тебе что-то нужно делать, от тебя что-то требуется. Но я помню, что у меня, да, что вот сама локация у меня вызвала ахуй, потому что я думаю, что это PS3, а она какая-то такая ублюдочно фрагментированная, как будто это, ну, MSX буквально. И...
Take, for example, a hunter tracking an animal. The hunter is surrounded by clues that tell him about his prey. Footprints, bent grass, broken branches, shifts in the air, things that are out of place. But they only speak to the tracker if he notices them. Some Native American tribes have long been able to detect even the most minute details because they developed those senses from early childhood by living in nature. They use all 5 of their senses, placing great importance on sensing through the skin, and sometimes go shirtless even in winter. It's said there are many different ways to feel the same wind. These things may seem foreign to you and I, but for them it's a way of life.
Вот, индейцы умеют...
Yeah, me too. Maybe Ryden's reached a level of enlightenment we
жить в гармонии с природой.
Snake, you'll want to pay attention to birds and animals too. If you see a bird suddenly take off, or an animal scurrying away, it's a sign that something's amiss. When a person makes a depression in the ground with their foot, there's a temperature difference between that print and the surrounding earth. With your solid eye's night vision mode, you can detect that slight difference and see the footprint.
You need to look at more than just the shape of the footprints. Don't assume you're on the right track just because the print matches the target's shoes. Take a closer look. Imagine the target actually on top of the print. Think. Is the depth of the print consistent with Naomi's weight?
Think, Snake, think! Сколько весит Наоми? Ты спрашивал ее, сколько она весит?
Don't let the hunted fool the hunter.
Snake, the Mark II's microphone is picking something up. It sounds like a helicopter rotor. Maybe there's a heliport nearby. I'm pretty sure you've reached the forest's edge, Snake. The exit to the heliport should be close by. Find it. Snake, you've got to get to the plaza beyond the market. I'll be waiting there with the chopper. All you have to do is get there in one piece.
Those soldiers chasing you. The emotional patterns they're displaying are definitely not normal. Intense anger, fear, sadness. All clear off the charts.
Подождите, что? Она может чувствовать эмоции солдат противников? Что?
What in the world happened to them? Snake, right now you've got to keep your focus. Make sure you don't get thrown off. Get to safety as quickly as possible.
Я вообще этого момента не помню.
Snake, the chopper is almost ready for takeoff. We're waiting for you in the plaza beyond the market.
Я бы
Make sure Naomi gets here safe.
Я бы с удовольствием подождал этих преследователей и грустил бы вместе с ними.
You're almost to the plaza, Snake. Just a little farther. Watch your sight gauge and hang in there.
Snake, hurry and get across the market. The chopper's waiting. Run! Snake, you're almost there. Raiden's keeping the enemy at bay. Now's your chance to make a run for it.
Это
Cross the market to the chopper.
пляски Райдена и Вампа.
Just a little farther. Dr. Emmerich's waiting for you in the chopper. Just forget about the sight gauge for now. Get to the chopper. You're almost at the chopper. Run, Snake, run.
Otacon, they've seen this face too.
Yeah, it might have been added to the PMC's blacklist as well.
And Meryl was acting kind of strange.
Things are going to get hairy once the American suppression troops get here. We'd better get to Big Boss's corpse.
Все, Прага поехала.
But first, we've got to find Big Mama. Snake, let's go over what we know so far. The streets are under curfew. The only people you'll find out there now are PMC soldiers and members of the Resistance.
Yeah, I thought it looked a little too quiet to be a tourist attraction.
The Resistance members are scheduled to convene at Big Mama's hideout. So our best course of action is to follow their lead. When you find the Resistance, tail them. Let them lead you to Big Mama.
But how exactly am I supposed to find this Resistance?
The PMCs have laid a dragnet for Resistance
Идет
members that
мужик
covers the
в
entire
плаще,
town.
оборачивается каждые 5 метров. За углом куча мелких ботов ебут Снейка. Мужик говорит, ничего, нормально, это обычный вечер.
How do I do that?
I've provided you with a new device for just that purpose. To hijack PMC communications, open the item
я
window
эмпат,
and
это
select the
смешная хуйня
signal
будет из
interceptor.
Стартрека.
The interceptor
А она
constantly
говорила, что она
monitors
эмпат,
PMC
я бы
voice
сейчас
and data
охренел от этого.
transmissions. When you've got the signal interceptor equipped and you hear the PMC's chatter about the Resistance, check your
Как
map.
же сегмент со слишком
It
из
should
Metal
display
Gear
the
2 на этом
location.
фоне Superior выглядит.
Oh, and Snake.
Кстати,
I think we
да.
found a way to treat Raiden.
Really?
Yeah, we got in touch with
То
Dr.
есть
Madnar. Naomi and
Это
Sonny are
был
on their way
нормальный
now.
сегмент со слежкой, а тут...
They're a few clicks north of where you are now. It's a non-combat
Ну
zone,
типа
so
на
there won't be any
PS3 такое
checkpoints.
реально стыдно
There's
должно
even a
быть делать, я
dialysis
считаю.
machine. It'll take some time, but I think he'll be okay.
Good.
Anyway, you need to hurry and make contact with Big Mama.
I got it.
If Liquid
Играю
gets
в
his
эти
hands on
игры
that
13
corpse,
лет, для меня
it's
МГС
all
это игра
over.
детства. Насколько я всегда был
Follow
до
the
пизды
Resistance's
драматургии
lead.
самодеятельности кирпичного завода.
Snake, the Resistance doesn't know
В
anything about
первом
it.
МГСе
With the
я,
city
не
under
знаю, я
curfew,
тоже первый
well,
МГС в
if they
13
see an
лет
unfamiliar
прошел.
face tailing them, they'll assume you're with the
Мне в
government
целом,
and
ну
attack,
как бы, у
or else
меня
just
были
run away.
вопросы к этой игре,
Whatever you
но
do,
в целом
make
мне
sure they
было
don't
окей.
notice you. The thing the Resistance fears the most is the government learning the location of their hideout. Which
Просто
means
в то
that if
время
the
особенно
PMC's alert
драматургии
level is any
никто
higher
хорошо
than
не
normal,
делал.
the Resistance won't head home under any circumstances. It's too risky, and that hideout is too valuable. Keep that in mind. To find the Resistance, check your radar for signs of their presence. You could also try intercepting communications from Ravensword, the local PMC, to identify a place where they're likely to be found. Snake, that area is under surveillance by PMC
Они столько
security
обсуждают
controls.
типа эти
You don't need me to
механики,
tell you to watch
но
out for them.
на деле,
If they see
по-моему,
you, you'll
большая
be too
часть
busy
этого
engaging
вообще не
them to tail the
нужна.
Resistance. If you see your Resistance target getting arrested, don't give up. They'll be taken to a PMC guardhouse for interrogation. While they're being taken there, help Resistance members get away by taking out their PMC.
А, да, блин, я это помню.
It's like a PMC convention here.
Чувака арестовывают, ты просто хедшотишь чувака, который его арестовывает, чувак такой Must be my imagination и идет дальше спокойно. Это такая тупая хуйня, просто Anti-US opposition, ух ты!
Presumably instigated by the opposition, broke out near the US embassy. The PMCs suppressed the riot, placing the government directly in Washington's front pocket. Almost overnight, they
Наконец-то
opened up
Америка.
this country to a large-scale hunt down of the Resistance. And now, the entire transportation network has been shut down, with
То
checkpoints
есть первые
everywhere.
два акта
That's
вообще
the
Америку не
official
вспоминали,
story
но сейчас наконец-то.
The riot that the opposition supposedly started, I suspect it was all part of a conspiracy. The units executing the actual operation are part of Liquid's own PMC. And the resistance group they're trying to flush out is led by Big Mama. The resistance also happens to have Big Boss's body in its possession. Seems as though Liquid was the one pulling the strings. He must have incited the riot to frame Big Mama, creating a scenario that allowed him to bring in the big guns to recover that body. I doubt politics has anything to do with any of this.
Sounds like Liquid, all right.
It does. Now, Snake, you know the drill. We need to get to Big Mama before they do.
My sentiments exactly.
Don't worry if you lose sight of your resistance target, or if they get arrested and you can't save them. You'll have other opportunities. This city is Big Mama's home base. There's got to be more than one or two of her men hanging around. Just keep your eyes peeled. They're bound to be others. If the PMCs find anybody other than one of their own, they'll dispense with the niceties and take them straight in for interrogation. So if your resistance target gets, or is about to get, arrested, take out their PMC captor. But try to do it in a way that doesn't make it obvious they've been attacked. You might want to try putting them to sleep. Snake, I need you ready to respond if the resistance gets in trouble, okay?
Росгвардеец арестовывает чувака и тут же засыпает. И это абсолютно нормально.
Knock on a wall or throw an empty magazine. Always be ready to take the appropriate action if the need arises. Stay focused on your target. Don't lose sight of him. Lose his trail and you'll have to search for another resistance.
Даже по количеству реплик
You're supposed to be tailing them, not harassing them. Snake, what are you doing? We need them to lead us to Big Mama's hideout.
Видно, сколько они...
Guess we'll have to find another resistance member to follow. Check your radar for signs of their presence. Or you can listen in on PMC.
Ты убил повстанца, ну ладно, найдем другого класса. Так тоже, вот явно они много усилий в это вложили, а выхлоп абсолютно нулевой. Просто нулевой. Я не знаю ни одного человека, которому это... Он убил 4 повстанцев, кажется.
Snake? Fine. Do whatever you want. Just don't forget what we're here for. Snake?
Rose, something's going on. I've been getting this weird feeling, like I died once already, and it was from a gunshot. Just seeing an enemy carrying a gun has been putting me on edge.
Snake, your decades of experience might be trying to tell you something. Maybe it's a warning that the bullet that will finally kill you is coming when your back is turned. Tell me, what would you do if you saw a teammate engaging in risky behavior? Say, recklessly charging the enemy, or letting their mind wander in the middle of a firefight?
I'd tell him not to get himself, or me, killed.
Well, think of it this way. There's another you inside your subconscious that's telling you the same thing.
I see.
Ой, давайте про эго, суперэго и инт, пожалуйста.
Cautiously and stay out of sight. I should start listening to my other me.
Exactly. Take care of yourself out there, Snake.
That resistance member's been arrested. Take out the PMC escorts and help him get away. Liquid will stop at nothing to get Big Boss's body. Work with the resistance fighters. Make sure that van gets out of there in one piece.
Пуля
the enemy is after Big Boss's body. They'll probably hold back from attacking the van.
People die when they are killed.
They'll throw everything they've got against you and the other escorts. It's game time, Snake. You've got to hold them off. The safety of that van depends on how well you fight to protect it. There'll be enemies waiting in ambush, too. You'll need to go ahead, wipe them out, and clear a path.
Snake, I know you must be reeling from everything Big Mama told you, but you've got to get a hold of yourself and focus on bringing Big Boss's body to safety. Protect that van.
Я не уверен, кто-то когда-то объяснял, зачем Снейку и вот этим всем труп Биг Босса.
And hitting your targets will be that much harder. So keep your hands steady by preventing drops in your sight gauge.
Damn it! We lost the van!
Yeah, and to top it off, there's some monster crows flying around here. Looks like the tourists have been feeding these guys. They're pretty damn big.
We'll just have to head to the rendezvous point and pray that the van is safe. Да.
Snake,
Тогда, наверное,
don't let your guard down. Take those guys out and open up the road. Hang in there, Snake. You're almost to the rendezvous point. Shake those guys off your tail.
I don't know much about motorcycles, but it's clear Big Mama's amazingly talented with that bike. It's like danger doesn't even register with her. One false move, though, and you're both done for.
That's part of the thrill.
She may be affected by what's known as rider's high.
Не, ну в первом МГСе, да, труп Биг Босса нужен был им для генной модификации. Но тут всем поебать уже на это.
In other words, a psychological high.
Right, I've heard of that.
Some motorcyclists have actually reported experiencing the same sort of sensation. It hasn't yet been confirmed psychologically, but that high could make you oblivious to danger. That may explain why she's driving like nothing.
Прикиньте, да, вот это все-таки подразумевается, что все эти диалоги идут во время того, как они едут по улице. То есть Ева, значит, там хуярит, а Снейк такой: Роуз, расскажи мне про то, как у нее эндорфины хуячат, а?
Sounds like a combat high. Kind of wish I wasn't riding shotgun, though.
In a combat high, your brain overdoses on
так третий акт вообще очень маленький. Третий акт это ты доходишь до Евы, потом у тебя маленький сегмент на мотоцикле и босс-файт, и все, это весь третий акт. В игре просто нет контента, в самой игре.
Anger causes us to lose self-control, making it the most dangerous emotion of all. This makes her extremely dangerous, Snake.
Нравится, что еще Роуз такая seems to be seething with rage. Реплики самой Бист. Rage! Rage! It seems to be rage. Я психолог, я могу это определить.
Snake, don't
Я
forget that your
эмпат.
ability to fight is affected by your psych level. No matter how tough your enemy, you need to keep an eye on your psych gauge at all times.
Those sliders will sometimes leave her side and operate independently, most likely acting as a remote scouting platform. If you see a slider
Реально, как
flying on its
работающие
own,
гены Биг
don't
Босса
hesitate
содержат
to shoot
навыки
it down.
CQC.
That should
Ну,
reduce the beast's situation awareness and tilt the odds in your
в
favor.
голове Кодзимы, да.
Snake, those sliders are equipped with searchlights.
В
Don't
голове
get caught in the
Кодзимы
beam,
еще
or they'll
доминантные
spot you right
рецессивные
away.
гены так работают,
The
как в
beast's attacks are
МГС-1.
taking a heavy toll on the surrounding structures. As more of them are reduced to rubble, you'll have fewer places to hide. Time
Шутили
is
про
not
Тодда
on your
Говарда?
side, Snake. You need to finish this thing.
Я
fast.
почему-то о нем не думаю, когда я это
Keep your
слушаю.
distance, Snake. Don't let her get too close.
Snake, she may have shed her suit, but she's still consumed by anger.
Rage.
Anger begets anger. It's a vicious cycle. Don't get caught up in it. Stay away from her.
Way to bring that bird down, Snake. Drabbin.
Вот это просто критическое морализаторство в последний момент про Anger Begets Anger. Это просто капец.
I'll launder this one free of charge.
What's the catch?
Only that you give it to me when you're done with it. A weapon with that many decades of rage stored up inside it. Now that's a collector's item.
How old was she?
I'd say about 20. But she had years of soldier's rage hidden away in that youthful...
Снейк в этой пушке десятилетие ярости, да, а самой бабище было скоро. Ну, 20 лет, ну подумаешь, но зато...
Body of hers.
Soldiers?
Yeah, the soldiers of Ake, a place that hasn't seen peace in a long, long time. She was captured by one side or another, and kept caged up like an animal, along with God knows how many other kids.
Anonymous violence.
Exactly. It's unknown whether the captors were with the government or the rebels. In any case, they got their kicks by abusing these helpless little kids day after day after day. That constant barrage, that battlefield rage slowly built up inside their bodies, their minds. The kids tried to keep each other's spirits up, always clinging to the hope that someone would come to their rescue, barely surviving off of scraps of food. But those soldiers didn't stop. They called the kids parasites and shit-eating ravens, beat them even harder. Then one morning, the soldiers just up and left, leaving the surviving kids to be eaten alive by the birds. Almost like one of those sky burials. One by one, their bodies were picked apart by ravens' beaks, until finally the flock came for her. But by some miracle, their beaks cut her bonds instead. And like that, she was liberated. In that instant, she was filled with an uncontrollable rage, and it smothered her soul.
А N-Word подглядывал
She
все это
ripped the
время.
ravens, pecking at her to pieces, and then went after the soldiers. And when she finally caught up with them, she waited until nightfall like a hunter awaiting its prey. They say that when a raven cries, a man
Мы на
dies.
тренируемых тела на хуйне, Кодзима просто реюзнул с вокальными паразитами.
Screeching and cawing, she killed every last living being in the camp. Both the soldiers and the civilians they'd enslaved. In her eyes, there was no longer a
А
difference.
что не так было с рецессивными и доминантными генами? Но это не так работает, что типа у доминантные это хорошие гены, а рецессивные это плохие. А именно так Кодзима это Все, я уже поехал. Преподнес в МГС-1.
No, seriously. You're the seed of war. In fact,
Ты семя войны! Да ты сама война!
you still got half the B&B core ahead of you.
Тебе еще нужно убить Биби. Ой, я этого не говорил. Массад, пожалуйста, не надо. Это все Кодзима. Выезжай за Кодзимой, пожалуйста.
Proceed with extreme caution. The heliport is to the west. You know what to do.
Snake, as I'm sure you're aware, Shadow Moses
Shadow
Island is an
Moses.
extremely harsh environment. Staying out there in that raging blizzard will take a severe toll on your psyche.
Ultimate фан-сервис тайм. Да, но единственный момент, который мне понравился там, да.
Don't forget that.
Look, there's the tank hangar. It sure brings back memories, doesn't it?
Hey,
I know
member!
it's all ancient history by now, but do you remember how you snuck into the hangar last time? I seem to remember the front hangar door.
Вы помните, как вы в вешалку вошли впервые? Просто я не могу, ну как бы, типа... Сложно очень вычитывать текст. Вычитывать текст — это тяжелая работа. Всем лениво вычитывать... Да, это шутка про аборт. Вычитывать текст в такой маленькой инди-игре, как МГС-4. Ну, типа, в следующей же строчке слово «ангар» написано нормально. Вот, понимаете? Одно слово — это ангар, а другое — это вешалка.
Big Boss's body has fallen into Liquid's clutches. We can't let him get his hands on Rex, too. We have to get to the underground escape route where Rex is stored before they do. I'm setting your radar to point towards the target. Check it if you need to get your bearings. Shadow Moses is an uninhabited ruin now. There aren't any human soldiers stationed.
В целом, почему-то вот эта идея, наверное, даже неплохая, да? Что, типа, все в мире контролируется, но только не Рекс. И, наверное, даже дуэль Metal Gear'ов — это не такая плохая идея. Но вот все, но вот вам и финальная катсцена — это писец. Что? Тут начинает, это надо читать, это Алекс Джонс начинается абсолютно, прям 100%. То есть я думал, эти маленькие говнороботы, но это, ну, блядь, ну это роботы. Нет, это же не может быть просто, что робот круче человека. Нет, чтобы у них ноги были такие мощные, их растят из клонированных стволовых клеток эмбрионов.
Genetically engineered from the cloned ES cells of ungulate embryos. This gives them quick response times and a high output to weight ratio.
Кому нужен древний Рекс, сказать, крутые орущие Рей? Ну да, то есть это, во-первых, объясняет, почему здесь есть Рекс и почему он такой ценный, и во-вторых, это просто еще хорошо работает. Такая же динамика идет, как в МГС-1, тут же сохраняется. То есть в МГС-1 на самом же деле как бы это Снейк был рецессивным дебилом слабым. Да, правильно? И он победил крутого Ликвида. То есть все время Снейк был этим underdog фактически. И в МГС-4, да, ты залезаешь в Рекса и выходишь против Рея, которого буквально дизайнили для того, чтобы Рексов разваливать. Да? И ты опять в роли вот такого андердога оказываешься. И, то есть это идея нормальная, она работает. Просто, к несчастью, Кодзима не смог не насрать нам и в Shadow Moses фансервисный тоже. Он скрывался в том, что доминантные гены были усилены. Не, подождите, я вот практически уверен, что финальный диалог от Целота говорит наоборот, что Ликвид же багетил на Солида, потому что он говорил: брат, я тебя ненавижу, потому что тебе дали доминантные гены. А в конце Ацелот говорит: Ликвид так и не знал, что доминантные гены были у него, а рецессивный лох в итоге всех победил. Вот, в этом же твист был. Да, почему Рекс может еще подняться, вот это вопрос. То есть его, ну, я не помню, надо ли бы его было чинить, если нет, то это бред. А бомбардировщики отозвали же, разве нет? По-моему, отозвали в последний момент.
I remember these ducks aren't that complicated. And I had some friends to show me the way.
Friends?
Friends. Little furry ones.
Ew.
Little furry?
Ew.
Never mind.
Snake, hurry through that duct and get inside the hangar. To get to the canyon to the north, go through the back door of the hangar. Remember the mission, Snake.
We've got another weird one here, Otacon.
Ah, the little three-armed machine. Actually, I was in touch with Nastasha just recently. She told me about a rumor making its way around the military analyst community.
Nastasha Romanenko. And?
Gecko are being deployed in more and more urban counterterrorism operations. In the process, they've encountered a number of problems. One of them is size and weight.
И в чем проблема?
Compared to other types of armored weapons, Gecko are relatively small and
Их
light,
что,
but
пинают, и
they're still a bit
они
too
не
big to be
могут
effective
встать?
in indoor search and combat operations. So the manufacturer, AT Corp, developed a new,
Понятно.
smaller
Они не
UGV
влезают в
based on the
двери,
Gecko
поэтому
archetype for
мелких
just that kind of mission.
создали.
And the latest word is they're about to start field testing.
Yes.
And that's what these things are?
More than likely. That's all the information I have. The very existence of these things is still top secret.
Pint-sized gecko, huh? Dwarf gecko.
I doubt they're heavily armed.
Осуждаем
But remember, these things are
лексикон.
designed to support Gecko during indoor combat. Best to assume they're capable of some form of attack.
Maybe so, but they're still just machines.
True, but that doesn't mean you can take them lightly. Be careful, Snake.
Питер Динклэдж просто
Snake,
отменяет
I know it's
Козлинича.
easy to get nostalgic about this place, but we really need to get to Rex. Head north. Snake, what are you doing in there?
Just reminiscing. Last time I was here, there was this nice stash of weapons and items. Thought I might get lucky again, and sure enough, I was right.
You mean you found something?
Yep,
Okay, just remember we need to get a move on.
right.
Меня немножко смущает вот то, что Атакун вообще такие вопросы задает. Они же все видят, что он делает. Он видит, где он находится. Почему он не видит, что Снейк нашел какой-то предмет?
I'll be done here in a sec. Rose, got a sec?
Well, this is a surprise. What's the occasion?
I've been having these dreams where I get shot and die. I'm sneaking around and suddenly someone shoots me from behind. Or I'm in a gun battle and I get shot through the heart.
You've faced being shot at countless times before, haven't you?
So,
In psychology, dreams are interpreted as messages from your subconscious. They may be trying to tell you that if you keep this up, you'll die like you do in your dreams.
Сам факт, что мега-бронированные говно ушатали из ПЗРК, показательно. В предыдущие разы их ушатывали из гранат сраных вообще.
Maybe spend more time sneaking around their backs, especially when there's shooting going on.
That sounds like a good plan. Be careful, Snake.
Hey, Snake, isn't this where you went toe-to-toe with Raven and his tank? Tell me again, how did you take that thing down anyway?
How? Well, grenades.
That's it? You didn't use an anti-tank
Да,
missile
как
or
бы.
something?
Didn't have one.
Your technique is kind of, well, how do I put this? Archaic when it comes to fighting tanks. Honestly, I don't think it'd work on today's main battle tanks.
Well, that's how I did it. What do you want me to say?
You know, I asked an active duty army officer once, if an infantryman had to take on a tank one-on-one, how should he do it?
And what was his answer?
Don't. He swore there's no way in hell a single infantryman could take down a tank by himself.
Типа, а панцерфаусты разве не для этого создавались? Разве не для того, чтобы кумулятивочкой просверлиться в танк и разъебать его?
Interesting.
I always suspected there was a little something crazy about you, Snake.
Панцершреки, точнее.
Now
Или
I
это
know
одно и
it.
то же?
You're nuts. Single-handedly taking out a tank? That's crazy. You're insane.
Otacon, is this your idea of a compliment?
Yes, you're the toughest, craziest, most hardcore badass on the planet. You're the shit. The nuclear storage facility is just up ahead. But you're not even halfway to the underground supply tunnel yet. You need to get a move on. That gecko looks as if its drive has gone completely dead. I wonder if it's some mechanical
Это
problem.
оба немецкие.
Never mind that, Snake. No time for dead lizards. Keep moving. Whoa, what the hell was that? That gecko must have been in hibernation mode or something. 1 minute it looks dead, and then BAM!
Tell me about it. I think I almost had a heart attack.
Seriously though, who'd have thought gecko had that kind of operation?
Снейк обосрался и умер
Whoever made
сердечного
him must have been a
приступа.
real
Вот это
bastard.
анекдот.
From now on, you'd better keep both eyes on those gecko. You don't want to get fooled like that again.
No disagreement here.
This snow just won't quit, will it? Can't see a thing in this whiteout. Visibility is practically zero.
Metal Gear — это пусковая установка для ракет, да, но это также шагающий танк. Танки не должны взрываться гранатами, как мне кажется. О чем они буквально сейчас и говорили.
That's right. I remember now. But there's no need to go all the way down there this time, right? The back door takes us straight where we need to go.
Good point.
Okay then. Let's get to the back door.
Что интересного
I
услышали.
believe the warheads have been removed
Snake,
from those
you
nuclear
are
missiles.
the shit.
The amount of ionizing radiation the Mark III's Geiger counter is detecting is significantly lower than what we'd see if there were actual warheads present. Which means, obviously, that you can use heavy weapons without having to worry about igniting leaking radioactive material and causing a nuclear holocaust.
Осуждаем использование этого слова. Ну да, кстати, занятный момент, да, что лучший диалог в игре — это буквально высмеивание женщины за ее неумение быть женщиной. Как вам такое?
Nice.
Keep heading north all the way to the back.
Окей, спасибо за
Through
ответ.
the door.
Otacon, the elevator's not working.
The panel lights are dead too. Looks like the
Это
power's out.
Эссен придумал, что
Still, there's no
отходящий
need to
танк.
take the elevator, is there?
Эссен, это ты.
Hurry up and head
Нет,
to the
это
gate
не
at the
я,
north
эта
end of
фраза
the building.
звучала в игре. Я не
You're
выдумал
still
фразу
on the wrong
«ходячий
floor.
танк».
Go downstairs. We're not gonna get anywhere at this pace, old timer. Huh? Snake, that door is locked.
How do I open it?
Security is shut down altogether. You can't release the lock without activating it. You'll have to log in somewhere. I've got it, Snake. My old office is close by. With the power on, you should be able to unlock the door from there. And if you check the facility records, we can find out Rex's status and who's been in and out. You remember where it is, Snake?
I'm not senile yet.
Just to be safe, I'm marking it on your map. You old geezer. Snake, the password is 48273. Think you can remember that?
I told you, I'm not senile yet.
The north door is locked. It won't budge. We need to access the system through the LAN in my old
Надо
lab to unlock
включить
it. My
генератор.
lab is on floor B2 of that building. Take the elevator to floor B2.
Насколько
You
я
can
знаю
get
по
to the
анимации
elevator from the
игромира и
catwalk you're
прочее.
on now. To activate it,
Ну,
stand in front of the control panel and press the action
Достаточно
button.
разнообразные, мне кажется. У них
Just a little
мимики
farther
нет.
to my lab. Go to the south end of the central hallway.
Но
turn east,
анимации
and head
достаточно.
straight
У Роуз
towards it.
нет анимации. Вот игромир
Everything
нормально
looks exactly
анимирован.
like I remember it. Except for that
Ну,
wall
у
way
него,
back.
мне кажется, штук
I
20
still
может
can't
быть
believe how much
анимаций
damage
разных.
you
Это
caused
довольно
in such a
много.
small space.
The switchboard. Nailed it with a remote control missile to shut down the electric current in the floor. The guidance system in those things takes up so
Роуз
much
вообще
space,
просто
it
как
hardly leaves any room for
покерфейс.
explosives.
Didn't make much of a bang, huh?
Hardly. Switchboard's still intact.
You're right. The wiring past the switch circuits could still be live.
Wait a minute. I'm not gonna get shocked if I walk on this floor, am I?
No need to worry. As long as you don't turn the current back on. This brings back memories. My colleagues and I used to work in these cubicles. We were all brilliant engineers.
Где
Best
твои
of the
коллеги,
best.
кстати? Почему-то о них
And
в
we were close
МГС-1 не
too,
говорил
like
никогда.
family. We used to play pranks on each other all the time. Like on this one girl's birthday, we stuffed her cubicle completely full of balloons.
Ну надо же,
Or this other guy who
будто
got
ты
married,
настоящий
when he came
персонаж.
back from his honeymoon, he found his workstation had been hollowed out and its guts replaced with jelly beans.
Sounds like a blast.
It was. But all that time, my colleagues and I, we were building Rex. Here we are, messing around in our cubicles all day like giddy grad students, and what do we end
Где
up with?
твои
A weapon of mass destruction.
коллеги?
It's not exactly the sort of thing you can look back on and laugh, is it?
You obsess over the past too much. It's a bad habit. Come on, I need directions here. That's your job, right? To support me.
Yeah, you're right. You can count on me. We're partners after all.
Good to have you with me, partner.
It's good to be here, Snake. I remember this place. After you beat the cyborg ninja, I came out into the hallway and all I saw was a sea of blood.
Of this.
The air was filled with a sickly sweet smell.
That was you.
I remember thinking, this must be what hell is like. My mind couldn't even process what I was seeing at first. Anyway, keep following that hallway to the north and you'll reach my lab. Keep following that hallway to the north and you'll reach my lab. The door on the first floor is unlocked now. You can go through anytime. Do you have a weapon that would work against those gecko?
Sure do.
Okay, great. Use it to get them out of the way. You don't have any weapons you can use against the gecko?
Nope. All out. All I've got on me are small arms.
Snake, how can you be so relaxed at a time like this?
No use getting upset, Otacon. That's just all I've got.
Sometimes you really amaze me. Look, you're gonna have to find some other way to beat those things or else you're stuck. There must be another way. Think, Snake, think. To get up to the first floor, you'll have to do something about those gecko. Get rid of them, Snake!
Snake, you have to break through that enemy ambush, right? I know you can do it, but you've got to stay calm and act rationally. Got that? Right now, though, you're in a dangerous situation. You must be under considerable mental stress. You need to resolve this situation as quickly as you can and get yourself to safety.
Какая же ты
Okay, Snake,
бесполезная.
the path is clear. Head for the first floor. Use
Сколько
the elevator to get
длится
up there.
компиляция кодека из
Snake,
Райзинга?
hurry to the first floor.
Можно
The
посмотреть,
door is
наверное,
already
да?
unlocked. Use the elevator to get up there. Snake, The door is on the level below you. Take the stairs down and head for the door on the north side. Keep heading north until you reach the door all the way in back. I'll override the Mark III's controls and open the door for you. The Mark III has to stay near the door until I've opened it, and it can't use stealth camo. It's only a matter of time before the Gecko find it.
Rose,
No
да,
stealth.
страшнейший
So
персонаж.
what?
Всё
I
так.
thought it didn't work on the Gecko anyway.
It's true, stealth doesn't do much against the Gecko's sensor suit, but it's better than nothing. Compared to full visibility, the probability of detection is slightly lower.
So, if it's even a little bit better being invisible than not, why turn off the stealth?
Why? Because I have to use the Mark III's manipulator to open the door, that's why.
I don't get it.
Once the Mark III activates its stealth camo, the entire machine becomes transparent, including the manipulator.
Yeah? So,
How easy do you think it would be for you to eat a meal, clean your gun, if you couldn't see your own hands?
I got it.
Look, Snake, it doesn't take a genius to figure out the Mark III's not going to survive a run-in with those Gecko. Don't let them get close to it until I've opened the door.
Okay, no problem. I'm on it.
Look at the Gecko. See the milliwave radar antenna up top? And the intercepting shot launcher on the upper part of its leg? That's the active defense system. Knock out the
Реально
sensor,
ведь
and you should be able to disable it.
каких-то
Aim for the
маленьких
antenna.
роботов приходится
Buy us some
убивать,
time
и
so the Mark
это...
III can open the door.
И это так
Distract
скучно,
the
то
Gecko
есть
and
сама
keep them far
идея
away
того,
from
что
the
твои
Mark III.
противники, это какая-то
Another ambush?
рой
Exactly.
бедрил
Things are
каких-то
just a little sticky
мелких.
right now.
Мне кажется, что
I need to
это
distract the enemy's
реально
attention until the
фигово.
Mark III gets the door open.
Listen, Snake. Overwhelming fear can lead to careless mistakes.
Просто, это же
The
просто
important thing here is
неинтересно
to
и
remain calm.
не,
Keep a clear
не
mind.
фаново
If anybody can pull this off, it's you.
с таким воевать. Особенно в такой iconic локации.
Look at your radar if you need to know which way to go. The comm towers. This is where you fought Liquid's Hind D.
That was a tough scrape.
But you still managed to shoot down his
Сколько кодеков
gunship.
в Райзинге, не
Up to
знаю,
then, I'd
часов
heard that even with
8.
man pads, going one-on-one against an attack chopper was an act of suicide. I thought only Hollywood action stars did that kind of thing. But you made it look easy.
Часов
I
6.
just told
Ага.
you, it wasn't that easy.
Окей.
Really? But you were all like,
Потому что
oh, I
тот
had to
чел,
take out
который
that
писал
Hellcat.
Райзинг, старался,
Real cool.
а
Like it was nothing.
Козлина лох.
All right, enough chit-chat. Let's get going. We've got a long way to go to Rex's hangar.
Yeah, you're right, Snake. Naomi's headed for Rex's hangar. We have to get there quick. Head north. Don't bother going into the comm towers. Go around them.
Otacon, she seems to know exactly where I am, even in this damn whiteout. What the hell is going on?
Infrared, maybe? No, you're wearing octo camo. It wouldn't be able to read you. Snake, do you see a pattern in her attacks? Anything that gives you a hint?
Right. Now that I think about it, her attacks have been coming from downwind.
Which means...
Damn, she can smell me.
Amazing. Tracking you in this wind. Just by your scent?
I can find a rescue lost hiker in the middle of a blizzard in the Alps. If that beast has an olfactory sensor as keen as a dog's, it's not out of the question.
Then what do we do? Octo camo doesn't do anything without your
Нюхач.
scent.
All I can do is try and guess where that thing's going to be. Try to move downwind.
Can you do it?
Either I do, or I don't.
Okay then. Good luck, Snake. This beast has 4 legs, and it's accompanied by an escort unit wearing powered suits. Watch out for their attacks, Snake!
Damn it, Otacon. It's mowing those trees down in one shot. What the hell is that beast using?
All that power, but still small enough for the beast to carry. And that noise it makes when it charges. Snake, do you remember the weapon Fortune had?
A railgun. We come here to keep them from stealing a railgun, and here they are using one against us.
I don't want to be conspiratorial, but it seems like something's behind this. Maybe it's just fate. Never mind. You've got to tame that beast.
You're right, Otacon. Let's do this.
Snake, the enemy is coordinating their attacks against you. Don't get too focused on one, or the others will sneak up behind you. Keep your eyes peeled.
Вообще я сейчас
Beast
думаю,
is
да, типа,
crying. In psychology,
Oh,
crying
boy.
is thought of as a way to freely express and release feelings. That beast cries and cries without stopping. There must be some immense sadness in her, the stress of which is tormenting her mentally and physically. Crying is the only way she can deal with it. The blizzard outside is as bad as ever
ну что
seen.
она рыдает
The
от
cold places
кринжа,
your
в
body
какой
under
она игре.
intense stress and wears away at your sight. Finding a place to take shelter should prevent your gauge from draining. Keep an eye out for something like that and use it to your advantage.
Snake, she's just like the others. Don't let her get close.
She's just like
Each of the
the
beauties
others.
has reached for your embrace, and I'll bet this one is no different. Snake, you can't let her get close to you. Stay away.
Не обнимайся с
Yo,
ней.
Snake, I finished laundering that railgun you picked up just now. Knock yourself out. It's on the house.
Thanks.
Time for another bedtime story, Snake. This one's about crying wolf. You don't need me to tell you there's whole nations in Africa tearing themselves apart in the name of ethnic cleansing. Well, she was born into that environment.
Чё? Что, извините? War has changed? It's not about ethnicity.
When she was a little girl, her village was attacked by rival armed factions. Her parents and siblings were slaughtered, and she was left a refugee. She took her last surviving relative, her baby brother, and ran as far as she could away from the war zone.
She was born in a
One day,
small
they came
ethnic
across an enemy
cleansing.
unit, so she took her brother and hid in an abandoned shack. And then her brother started to cry. She knew that if the soldiers heard the noise, they would find them and kill them both. So she wrapped her hand as tight as she could around his mouth. As the footsteps gradually went away, she came back to her senses. Her brother wasn't crying anymore. Horrified, she pulled her hand away, covered in sweat and spit. He wasn't breathing. They say wolves eat their own pups when they die. She was spotted wandering through the thick of battle, carrying her dead brother in her arms. She had visions, too. A wolf walking alongside her. Every night, the wolf would howl and cry, just like her brother did that day.
Да.
Eventually, she made it to a government-run refugee camp. But by then, her brother's body had rotted away. The camp was crowded with refugees like herself, and little children like her brother. Day and night, she was tormented by the cries of babies. The wolf that followed her heard her sorrowful screams and answered. He made his way around the camp, and one by one, he silenced the children.
Да, он знает, какие у нее видения
But she was
были.
powerless to stop the wolf.
И вот этот волк, который, как в Ветхом Завете, детей именно таргета
The
убивает.
adults who survived
Да.
were torn up pretty bad. Of course, there was never any wolf in that camp. She was the one who killed those babies.
Мгм.
But she couldn't bring herself to admit it. She couldn't bear the thought of herself going from one baby to the next, howling like a wolf, snuffing out their little lives. And she never did, even as crying wolf, a lonely beast forever stalking the battlefield.
Ах.
Snake, fighting with you made Wolf finally accept what she'd done. She was cleansed by you. If the cries she heard of children on the battlefield have been silenced, it's because of you. You ought to be proud. 3 down, 1 to go. All that's left is Mantis. But you should know, Snake, she's been controlling all the other beasts. She's the beast of beasts. Don't let her get her hooks in you.
I won't.
See you around, Snake.
Hear that, Snake?
Yeah. The wolf dogs.
Her family.
Я уже забыл.
Must be
что.
tough for them in this environment with all the people gone.
Wolf dogs aren't like other dogs. They're closer to wolves in nature. Happier living in
Ты
the wild.
ее
than being
очистил,
pets.
да. Эта фраза,
Even more
это
so
что-то
out
из
there, guarding the grave of a loved one.
You sure about that?
из какого-то хентая конченого.
I used to
кажется.
live with dogs just like these. I know what I'm talking about.
Okay, if you say so. Snake, we're only halfway there. Let's get going. The warehouse at the north end of the snowfield leads to the blast furnace. Head north. The
Да,
warehouse at
оставленная
the north
лежать
end
в
of the
снежной
snowfield
метели,
leads to the blast
полуголая,
furnace.
замерзла
Head
нахуй и
north.
подохла после налистого оружия.
Oh,
Killed
Rose.
her dark soul with light.
I'm glad to see you're safe. You're not hurt too seriously, are you?
No, I'll live.
I was listening in on the B&B's stories too. It's heartbreaking.
Those things happen every day on the battlefield. But you're right. They're never easy to hear.
They've all suffered such unimaginable trauma. Hearing the cries of phantom infants in your head, facing flashbacks to uncontrollable rage. These are textbook clinical cases for us counselors.
PTSD, right?
Absolutely. I can't believe anybody would coerce them into entering battle in their state.
Just goes to show how much faith Liquid has in their combat abilities.
That's no excuse. No CSP member,
Реально, у
no
нее
one with
мимики
even a
нет.
shred of conscience for that matter, would ever treat another human being like that.
Актриса играет, а лицо не играет.
Listen, lady.
It's more than just a matter of conscience. Without the proper treatment, their symptoms will worsen, eventually leaving them unfit for combat entirely. And that can't be good for their commanding officer.
Maybe not, but it suits me just fine.
Snake!
Look, maybe it sounds callous to you, but that's how things are out here. We're talking about survival.
Well, yes, but
I know what you're trying to say, and your heart's in the right place.
yeah, maybe you're right. I'm sorry I lashed
Что
out.
с ними дальше-то случилось?
Snake,
Типа Снейк
there's
их не
only one of those
убивает,
things
да?
left.
Они не
Stay
дохнут?
focused. The end is in sight.
I'll be careful.
Вообще да, хорошо.
Snake,
А всем похуй, что с ними дальше случилось, потому что это не персонажи, а говна кусок.
was established a long time ago. If you keep on killing animals for no reason, we will be forced to conduct a thorough psychological review upon your return.
The stairs in back lead to the...
Как хорошо, что Роуз не знает, что Снейк делал с детьми в Занзибарленд.
blast furnace. Head that way. The blast furnace is just below. Keep going down. Hold it, Snake. Time to change the disc. I know, it's a pain. But you need to swap disc 1 for disc 2. You see the disc labeled 2?
Ах да, мы на PlayStation 3.
Oh, wait. We're on PlayStation 3. It's a Blu-ray disc. Dual layered, too. No need to swap.
Damn it, Otacon! Get a grip!
Yeah, what an age we live in, huh, Snake? Wonder what they'll think of next. The cargo elevator down to Rex's hangar is ahead. It's that big door in the back, on the right. Head through that door and keep going. To get down to the rolling facilities, use the elevator in the northwest corner. Snake, go down to the casting and rolling facilities below.
На их
Use
свернутых
the
можно
elevator in the
добить?
northwest corner. The rolling facility is a long, narrow space that stretches south to north. The southern half houses the rollers, while the
Это
northern
здесь
half
не
is used
менялся
to
не
cool
там?
finished steel
Да?
sheets.
Блин, я
The drainage
забыл.
duct lies beyond that. Head for that drainage
Разве не
duct.
после второй дуэли со
Careful, Snake.
снайпершей?
This place is crawling with gecko and dwarf gecko.
It must have been Vamp who sealed the blast furnace door.
How do you figure?
No one ever comes down here, and yet there's gecko everywhere. He must have figured if I couldn't get the door open, I'd come down here. That freak set up a kill zone just for me.
Figures. Snake, don't let him get to you. You've got to get through there alive. Keep moving north through the rolling facility. The door to the drainage duct leading to Rex's hangar is at the north end. Keep going straight down that waterway. You'll end up in front of
Ну
the
да,
hangar.
после
After
Снайпер
that,
Вульф,
it's
по-моему, в
just a
оригинале
hop,
же
skip,
тоже
and a
после
jump to
Снайпер
Rex.
Вульф. Второй.
Rex is just up ahead, Snake. But you know that by now, don't you? This is it. Be careful in there. The hangar's just up ahead. Keep heading north. Snake, I went ahead and remotely sent the lift used to bring Rex up to the supply tunnel. So then, all aboard. Make him pay, Snake! Do it for me! For Emma! Do whatever it takes! Just make sure he stays down this time. Get Naomi back for me, please!
Snake, I don't know much about Vamp, so there's not much I can offer you by way of advice, but you do have my unconditional support. Don't let him beat you, Snake. You're the only one who can save Dr. Hunter. Remember to take good care of your sight gauge and finish that monster once and for all.
Snake, you've got to buy some time until my check of Rex is complete. These gecko are rigged to blow themselves up. You need to destroy the frame completely with a powerful weapon before they finish their self-destruct sequence. Snake, that railgun
То
Wolf
есть
was
перед
using.
башнями нужно было действовать.
serviceable.
О,
Good.
окей.
That should give you more than enough power. Use it to shoot the gecko.
Наоми Хантер,
Stop
потому что
those
Фрэнк
gecko.
Егерь. Ну,
Don't let them
в
self-destruct.
в
If one of them
МГ2-то
looks
он
like
же
it's about to
назывался
self-destruct,
Фрэнк
shoot it
Хантер, да?
immediately. You can do this, Snake.
Listen to me, Snake. In this situation, your aim has to be perfect. You can't afford a single mistake. Avoid letting your sight slip, otherwise your hand tremors will worsen. Your
They
sight
will
gauge should always
worsen
be a top
anyway.
priority.
Get to the port area at the end of the supply tunnel as fast as you can. Go, Snake, go! Just in case you forget anything, you can review the controls for Rex in Briefing in the Mark III menu.
I'm sorry things had to happen that way, Snake. But there'll be time to mourn later. For now, you have to get out of there as fast as you can. Go. The clock is ticking, Snake. Get out of there as fast
Часики
as you can.
тикают, твердый
Time
змей.
is not on your side here. Keep your cool, but try to hurry.
I hate to say it, but I think Liquid's got the advantage when it comes to piloting Metal Gear. After all, he's had Ray in his hands for quite some time now. But not to worry. I was Rex's lead designer, and I'm here to support you. I've installed an emulator of Rex's main CPU and DSP on Gaudi. We'll run it in parallel with Rex's processors to enable distributed processing of control tasks. It'll give us a big boost in throughput, which should make Rex as fast and agile as Ray.
Well, I have no idea what that means, but it sounds good to me.
It's okay, Snake. I know you can win this.
MK Modification Kit, я думал, что это Марк просто.
Do me a favor, Snake. Get as close to Ray as you can.
Get closer. What the hell for?
I created a special control program back when I was designing Rex. I thought it might come in handy here.
What kind of program?
Rex is armed with powerful self-defense systems, missiles, laser, designed to protect it during solo ops overseas. But some of us engineers were worried about what would happen if it found itself in a close-range shootout. We got to thinking, why not use Rex's tough shell as a weapon in
Tough
itself?
shell.
In other words, why
Всё-таки
not
это
make you into
танк.
a street fighter?
Блять.
The program was completed, and we got fantastic results on a supercomputer simulation. But the project was shelved before we could make our pitch. Didn't fit in with military regulations. But I went ahead and installed the program anyway. You know, secretly.
Seriously?
I just rechecked the program on Gaudi's simulator, and as far as I can tell, it should still work fine.
Okay, just tell me how to use it.
The program is still in alpha, so it's low on
У Ликвида,
flexibility.
у Ликвида, может быть, и было бы преимущество, но Ликвид-то умер, а Оцелот это не Ликвид.
When you see the signal, just press the action button, and Ray won't even know what hit it. But first, you have to get close to Ray.
Let's do it.
All right, that's what I like to hear. Come on, Snake. You can't let Liquid beat you.
So Liquid finally shows his face.
No, he
It's the moment of truth,
doesn't.
Snake. The man you've pursued all this time is standing right in front of you. I know it's tough to keep a cool head, but stay focused and watch his movements closely. It's up to you, Snake. Eyes on the prize. Come on, Snake. You can win this one.
Snake, the catapult malfunctioned when it launched Meryl. She landed some distance away from you.
Сука, катапульта, я не могу с этим, это
There's no time
просто...
to rendezvous with them.
Эй,
You'll each have to make your own way to the server room.
извините, вы
I'll follow
катапультой
you,
промахнули,
Mark.
если твоя
I can't
Мэрил
either watch you
улетела.
back in person, but I'm with you all the
Улетела
way.
в сраку.
Good luck, Snake.
Good luck, Snake.
Liquid has dispatched armor-enhanced troops from his personal army to that area. You do not want to get surrounded by them. Make sure they don't see you, or if you do engage, try and take them out one at a time.
4 комнаты, по-моему, да.
The troops above decks are having a
Первая
shootout with
комната
the
с
enemy
чертями,
over your head.
потом Мантис,
It's a total
потом
war zone.
микроволновка и все.
Okay.
For now, at least. The Missouri's protected by some pretty thick armor.
Good.
Сейчас мы будем слушать историю.
Don't count on it lasting. If things get bad, abandon ship. Got it?
Yeah, I know.
Как серия в Саус Парке, где люди катапультировали себя
Don't end up like
на
Admiral
здание в
Nelson.
знак протеста.
Don't worry. I'm not ready to hang it up yet. Not until I finish the mission.
That's the spirit, Snake. Snake, proceed towards the ship's stern. We're going to infiltrate the interior of Haven. The entrance to the interior of Haven is towards the stern of the ship. Head toward the stern.
This is it. You finally reached Liquid's home base. I'm
No
here
thanks
support
to
Just
you.
like always. Snake, promise me you'll finish the mission and come back safely. But you're
I'm
deep
gonna
behind enemy
come.
lines. There's no telling when danger might strike next. Stay alert and proceed with caution. But there's no telling when you might encounter an enemy patrol.
Серьезно?
Please be careful.
No
Don't
telling?
let them bind you.
Там типа
The server
полторы
room is still a
комнаты
ways
всего.
off. Keep
Какой
moving.
патруль вообще?
And be sure to keep an eye on your radar so you know which way to go.
But you're in tight quarters.
Что?
And there must be dozens of enemies looking for you. Do
По радару
everything you can to
определять,
avoid
куда
contact with them.
идти? Там можно
You've got to
заблудиться?
protect Meryl. Don't let the
Офигенно.
enemy get to her. The only way forward is to get rid of them. Snake, you know what to do.
Snake, you're the only one who can protect Meryl. You've got to do something before they get their hands on her.
Snake, what are you thinking? Are you trying to kill her or what? Stop it, Snake. Meryl can't take this kind of abuse. Keep her safe. Don't hurt her.
Абьюзер.
Enough is enough, Snake. How can you call yourself a man hurting a woman like that? Oh!
Snake, you're supposed to be protecting Meryl, not hurting her. Stop it, Snake. Don't let Meryl take any more damage. Snake, you brute! Why would you keep hurting her like that? Ugh!
Snake.
О, смотрите, вот у нее наконец-то анимации проснулись.
She manipulates others into doing the fighting for her.
Чтобы у Роуз появились хоть какая-то мимика и анимации, надо было всего лишь отпиздить Мэрил. Вот ключик где был.
Snake, remember how Psycho Mantis controlled Meryl using telepathy?
Эта женщина стоит между тобой и серверной, тебе нужно ее отпиздить. Звучит как что-то из офисных будней.
In other words, she puts them into a sleepwalking state and controls their muscle systems directly.
What is that ghost-looking thing, anyway?
My guess? A hologram, meant to intimidate people. Having some freaky thing like that suddenly pop up in front of you is enough to make anybody jump.
Like how Special Forces dress all in black when they go on a raid.
The control signals for the nanomachines must be embedded in the laser used to create the hologram. That's probably why Mantis can't control you unless you touch it.
But she's controlling dead guys, too. What about that?
Same concept. Didn't you ever do that experiment in high school where you attach electrodes to a dead frog's leg to make it twitch? The nanomachines are capable of storing an electric charge. It's entirely possible that Mantis is using that electricity to make muscles contract. If she really is controlling people through their nanomachines, you know a way to counter that, right? Give it a try. Snake, you have a way to suppress nanomachine activity, don't you? So go ahead and give it a shot.
Как я контрю
The fight on Shadow
наномашину?
Moses?
That's right. Back then, we defeated him by using multiple controller ports to counteract his mind-reading powers. Snake, try using the same tactic again. Plug the controller into controller port 2.
It's not gonna work, Roy.
Huh?
Do you see any controller ports here? Deceiving Mantis is going to take more than simply pushing the PS button to switch controller numbers.
But then, that means...
It's impossible. Sorry.
Well, I'll be damned. Well, so much for the controller. But that beast has another weak spot. Do you remember what it is?
Weak spot? You mean the bust modeled on Mantis's true face? The one with all the leather bands wrapped around it?
That's the one. Mantis always hated seeing his birth face. Attack that bust and break off the leather seal.
Colonel, I can't do that.
Sure you
Спецшприц для
can.
подавления
Seeing his true
наномашин?
face is sure to break Mantis's
О,
concentration.
то, что они в
There's
лампу
no
втыкали.
bust.
Они
What?
сделали оружием
There is
против
no
солдат.
bust here to attack.
Ясно.
You're kidding.
The women of the B&B Corps. One
Словно
laughed, one
грозная
raged, and
гора,
one cried.
парень
And now the final
шприц
beast who
втыкал в
won't
себя.
stop screaming. That wailing may be the product of some unendurable fear that's gnawing away inside of her. I can't even imagine what kind of trauma would cause a person to scream like that. Snake, don't forget to keep tabs on your psych level. If it starts to dip, try to get it back up as soon as possible.
Otacon, what's going on? I can't move.
You can't move? What the heck did you... Oh, Snake, did you set the controller number to something other than 1? Let me guess. You thought back to your battle with Psycho Mantis and figured the same tactic would actually work again, right?
Well,
Nice try, Snake. But this time the controller number has to be 1, or else you can't control your actions.
What the hell? Whose dumb idea was that?
Don't look at me! I'm sorry, but it's simply not going to work this time around.
Fine.
Snake, without those puppets, the beast can't
да.
control her victims. Focus your attacks on the
How
puppets.
meta can
Get
you
her to
get?
drop them, and she'll be completely helpless. Aim for the puppets. Watch out for the ghosts coming out of Mantis's puppets. Touch one, and she'll make a puppet of you.
Знаете, только что они были такие, ну вот она использует наномашины, чтобы те, значит, в мышцы подавали электрические сигналы, и так она контролирует трупы. Уничтожь ее марионеток и победишь ее, но осторожно, из марионеток вылетают призраки, которые могут захватить контроль над тобой. Right.
You too. Snake, Meryl is under that monster's control. Free her before it's too late. It looks like conventional weapon attacks won't even scratch Mantis.
Really? I hadn't noticed. Any ideas?
Sorry, nothing I can think of right now. There must be some way, though. No! Snake! Mantis got Meryl. She's going to blow her brains out unless you do something. You've got to free her from the
Блин,
beast's
это
control.
настолько рехаш один.
Snake, remember your battle with Psycho Mantis? Knock Meryl out like you did back then. That way she won't be able to hurt herself.
Вы только что меня отчитывали за то, что я и абьюзер, да? Я больше не буду этого делать.
When the beast's victims take damage or get knocked out, it looks like they're temporarily freed from its control. Huh. Maybe because the shock of the attack creates a disturbance in the nanomachine interface. But then, knocking them out wouldn't... Or would it? Well, anyway, whatever the reason, it's something that can work to your advantage. Don't hesitate to use it. Just don't get carried away and kill any of your comrades, okay? If you can knock them out or put them to sleep, all the better. I've got an idea. What if you use those puppets to turn the tables on the beast? Control her instead.
Ooh.
Use the puppets.
Ooh.
It's worth a try at least.
That's kinky.
First, select one in the item window. Then press the attack button to shoot out a ghost, just like a weapon. If the ghost hits its target, it's showtime. Got all that, Snake? Go on, take her for a spin. When you get control of the beast body, jerk it around. That'll really do some damage. Make her dance, Snake. Snake, use the puppet. Equip it by selecting it in the item window. Once it's equipped, press the attack button to shoot out a ghost. After the ghost hits its target, tilt the controller to control the enemy. Watch out, Snake! Don't let her cling to you! Keep your distance!
Such agony in those screams. You may be tempted to try and save her, but don't let sympathy get the better of you. Remember the other Snake. She wants to kill you. Don't let her get too close.
So, you bested the last beast. That doll you just picked up lets you manipulate anybody who's got nanomachines in them.
Как жаль, что игра уже закончилась.
If you ask me. Mantis came from South America. She was born and raised in a country racked by never-ending civil wars. Her village was attacked by enemy forces and burned to the ground.
She was born and burned in a small
Hunted
village.
by enemy death squads, she was separated from her family. She barely managed to escape with her life.
Это не Last Hurrah, born in a small village, она же вернется в пятый.
Almost all of them had been tortured to death. She was petrified with fear. And then, she heard the sound of heavy boots on the floor above her, followed by shrieking screams. The kind that would make every hair on your body stand straight up. She had stumbled across a makeshift torture chamber. Somebody locked the door, and she was trapped. It was dark, it was dank, and it was full of a wretched stench.
It was dank.
She couldn't sleep with the screams of torture victims all around her. All she could do was sit curled up in one corner of the room, trembling. A week passed, then 10 days. She managed to keep hydrated by drinking the filthy water pooled up on the floor, but there was no food. Being trapped in that kind of place, half crazy from hunger, did a serious number on her mind. Did you know female mantises eat their mates? The screams went on day and night. She covered her ears, but it didn't help. And then, she was saved by a little black mantis that taught her how to block out the screams, how to plug up her inner ears.
What the hell are you talking about?
I'm saying, Snake, that when she couldn't stand the hunger any longer, she started feeding on the corpses, but only the male ones. She didn't realize who was doing it. In her mind, it was a female mantis devouring her mates. It was like one big twisted waking dream. There was no mantis, of course. It was all a hallucination.
Он реально повторяется с волком только что.
Her unstable mind was what made her so vulnerable.
Какой же Кодзима вообще просто невыносимо жалкое говно.
It wasn't her will that controlled the B&Bs. It was Psycho Mantis, half assimilated into her soul, pulling the strings.
Что это за аниме тупое?
Was just another puppet. Anyway, she survived several weeks down in that hellhole and finally got back to the surface. But the screams in her head didn't subside. They would always be with her. Only this time, they weren't real. The inner earplugs didn't work anymore. The black mantis had disappeared. There was no place left to escape.
Во всем виноват психомантис, который уже умер, но он полуассимилировался в ее душу, и поэтому... Я очистил ее, да?
The last of the beasts.
Ну да.
You got it, pal. Well, I'm done playing storyteller for a while. Now get going. GW's waiting. And this time, you get to make up the ending.
The coast is clear. Quick, use this chance to head toward GW. Run, Snake! You've got to get to the server room while Meryl is still holding out.
То есть хинтов на отслот они не дают.
You're almost there. Just a little farther.
И на микроволновку
Your
тоже.
psych is doing great right now. Keep going. Snake, look at your psych gauge. It's close to empty. Keep your psych high in order to get where you need to go. Do what you can to restore it. Your psych has dropped pretty low, Snake. You should recover as much as you can before moving on.
You're almost there, Snake. Move like your life depends on it, because it does. I'm with you, friend. So please, hold on a little longer. I know it hurts, Snake, but hang in there. Get through to the other side before you're cooked.
И все. Это последняя реплика, которую мне говорят по кодеку. Get through to the other side before you're... Before you're cooked. Прикиньте, да, вот Снейк проходит через микроволновку, а параллельно с этим нам показывают, как Джонни Сасаки cucks him. Literally. Я слышал, что некоторые самцы-богомолы просекли, что самке еда нужна, заворачивают еду в лист и приносят шаурму самки, чтобы ели не их. Вот такие дела. В общем, что я могу сказать? Сегодня мы узнали еще ряд вещей о Хидео Кодзиме, I guess. То, что не было бы, наверное, настолько очевидно, если бы мы играли или там как-то смотрели это в сплайсе с кат-сценами, потому что не было бы настолько болезненно очевидно, что насколько бесполезна Роуз, насколько однообразна Роуз. Канами Кодзима точно. То есть Кодзима сам говорит, да, что Фукушима писал в основном кодеки, но и в таком случае, что можно сказать, да, в МГС 1, 2 и 3 хорошие кодеки. Может быть, во второй поменьше, конечно. Но в первой мне прям реально нравились. В третьей они, возможно, тоже хорошие. Просто наверное, у меня было меньше терпения слушать кодеки в третьей части. Вот. Так что такие дела. Я помню несколько кодеков в третьей, на которые я попадал, где Зиро, что-то про Джеймса Бонда или про Годзиллу. В общем, когда они начинали обсуждать поп-культуру, это было прям приятно слушать. Ну, в Deadly Premonition было примерно такое же, да. Ну, просто Сигент, по-моему, ничего хорошего не говорил никогда. Вот Зиро всегда был норм в кодеках, как правило. Да. Про Годзиллу, да, про Медик говорила. Она говорила про Киноки. Я помню, что Зиро приходил, тоже вклинивался в эти диалоги. А вот Сигент, он просто что-то дрочил пухи, и это было хуево. Так, а что вы мне присылаете?
Eva, what happened to Ocelot?
Can't get enough of him, huh?
He doesn't trust you.
I know. So it's me you're worried about then.
Eva.
I'm fine. I know how to handle him. Besides, I think he's got his mind set on someone else right about now.
What?
Figure it out.
Eva, about the contents of the backpack you got for me.
Is there something missing?
Yeah, all of my food.
Will, how strange.
You didn't.
It wasn't me.
Huh.
All those snakes and crocodiles and suspicious-looking mushrooms, I wouldn't eat that stuff, even if you paid me.
What about the instant noodles? Eva.
I was hungry, okay? Give me a break. It's just a little packet of noodles.
It wasn't just the noodles. All those animals I worked so hard to capture.
That wasn't me.
So who was it?
It was Ocelot.
Ocelot?
He said he wanted to eat the same things you did.
Why would he do that?
You haven't figured it out?
No.
You are dense.
Спасибо большое. Да, вот мне кажется, реально вот на контрасте с тем, что мы сейчас посмотрели в четвертой, да, один диалог из третьей прям насколько он живее вообще всего.
Wearing black face paint, huh? Painting your face with black paint should give you a high rate of camouflage in dark areas.
Да блин, серьезно? Это все? Wearing blackface, huh? Ну ладно. I don't mind. Ну, в общем, такие дела. О, знаете что? Знаете, что у меня еще есть? Ну-ка.
Dr. Madnar offered Sonny and Naomi his full support. He's going to lend them a dialysis machine. No charge.
Good to hear.
I hear you saved the doctor and his little girl back at Outer Heaven.
Yeah, I remember that.
Always good to help others. That reminds me, Madnar wanted me to tell you, his daughter Ellen is married now. Kids, too. 3 of them. One more thing. He said to tell you he's sorry.
New Game Plus эксклюзив. Такси, да. Окей, я, правда, закрыл картинку уже, так что, да, сори. Так, у меня тут... Сейчас я наживую это немножечко сдвину. Во.
Snake.
What's up, boss?
Don't you what's up me. Just what do you think you're doing?
What do you mean?
What do I mean? What is that camouflage you're wearing?
Oh, this. What do you think?
Of all the...
Looks pretty good on me, doesn't it?
Are you out of your mind? You can't wear that in battle. It's like saying to the enemy, hey, here I am, shoot me.
Well, I'll admit it is a little on the flashy side.
Then why don't you...
But it does look good on me, doesn't it? You don't think so?
Listen, wise ass, camouflage isn't gonna do jack if it doesn't help you blend in with your surroundings.
Well, I think it looks good on me.
Fine. Wear whatever you want.
Thought you'd like it.
Не, это прям вот... По-моему, сразу видно, что небо и земля, да? Вот насколько же лучше в третьей. Все. Ладно, вот. Это было... Слушать МГС-4 было не очень приятно, но узнал что-то новое для себя. Вот. Спасибо, что смотрели. Увидимся в субботу. Я планирую Doom 2 начать проходить. Вот. Спасибо за донаты. Спасибо за заказы. Спасибо за поддержку на Бусти. Вот. Увидимся скоро.